outlandish, but I can back them up. Boom. End of story. There is no other crypto out there, so don't get it twisted. If you don't understand where you're parking your money, you're gonna pay the consequences for that, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. Boom. We're obliterating everybody, literally. There is nobody else that comes close to what Hex has done. Boom. Oh, it's about to get funky. Funkier than you could have ever imagined. You know, Richard Hart is a boss. Hex is literally the best thing on the planet. It's simple mathematics. Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest. Yep. That's it. Yep. That's the secret. The guy well told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. Man, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all deep. Everybody. My God. Hex agents, bro. Everybody. Australians, man. Everybody gets me. Yo, when is it told you? Dollar told you. Everybody done told you. It's crazy. Welcome to another fantastic Wells Only and Friends live stream. What's going on, guys?
What's up, man?
What's up, Wells? How's it going?
Oh man, it's been a glorious day for me personally. I don't know if you guys know, but basically Rona's over.
Yeah.
the narrative has fallen, just like the wall in Berlin in 1989. You know, so all you motherfuckers wearing face diapers, you can pull them off now. You know what I'm saying? The coast is clear.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
Man. Well, look, in the UK, they had to repeal every single facet of Rona. Period.
Yep.
Every single one. No more face diapers, no more passports, no more nothing. So, that only leaves one result. The cascade domino effect, right?
I hope so. I hope our government doesn't just try to double down.
Well, it's not going to be optional, brother.
I like that. I like that better for sure.
I mean, think about it. If the UK is no longer abiding by it, that means it doesn't exist. Clearly.
Yeah.
So, what other option are they going to be left with?
Double down.
There are mandates to begin with, right? Which is unconstitutional.
Nah, nobody gives a fuck about that, bro. Let's be honest. They were already struck down. So, right?
Yep.
So
at least at the highest levels. But
I mean, here, mandates are not laws. They're not even worth discussing, in my opinion. That's why you never hear me discussing them.
Mm-hmm.
Not worthy of discussion, because only slaves follow such commands. I'm no slave, sir.
Yeah, because you understand the like three parties, the system of checks and balances. I understand what the hell
words means, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I understand how laws are made. I understand what the fuck is going on, right? I mean, it's like understanding, you know, how math works. Like 1 + 1 is 2, and then 2 + 1 is 3, and then 3 + 2 is 5, and so on and so forth, right? And this is how values keep stacking and building and whatever. Like, that's how shit works. Like, things are additive because they can be added, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to get that mathematical understanding with my rights. Like when it comes to that, you know, checks and balances system. Like, how does a bill become law? It's like you watch that like 70s thing and they sing about it or whatever, but it's like so many people don't understand that, 2 + 2 = 4. Like, you take my rights, I'm a slave concept.
You know what it is, man? It's about the words that are used and what they mean, right? Because it's about the syntaxed grammar, right?
Yeah, I've looked
Like
into that like wild. Yeah, that's wild. Like, start
right.
looking into that stuff with the postal service and like going into like the dimensional laws of like everything's on like a 2D surface, and then the way that
Right.
your grammar syntax is like it's all that. It's all mathematically like every word means it's it's an equation with words. Like, it's
Yep.
beautiful if more people could understand that. I've tried. I mean, it's not.
Not
Yeah,
easy.
I mean, I've looked into it, but it is a out there concept. There's a few hexagons that talk about it, mention it, but I mean, fully understanding that would free us on so many levels. It's insane. Like, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
such a huge like topic.
Leap.
It's so hard. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, the learning curve is definitely steep. That's for sure. I know I've tried my hand in it. I haven't been able to focus on it just yet, but we'll get there eventually. But you know, it's just knowing your basic human rights, man. If you know something is out of bounds, say something. It's not hard. Nobody can tell you what you can do with your body. Simple as
Hmm.
that. I mean, if you
Yeah.
sit here and think about it, and I had to tell this to one of my colleagues at work the other day, and they didn't even want to believe me. But let's take this into consideration. We've all just lived through 2 years of rape, essentially, where every single day all they did was mentally rape you, and then they tried to medically rape you,
Yeah.
flat out. That's
Yeah.
exactly what
Well,
we just lived through.
yeah, they found a way to like enslave people's minds to the point
Hmm.
where, since they infiltrated their minds, it was then palpable for them to be able to actually penetrate their skin. Like, it's not legal or whatever what they're doing, but they're able to find a way in and actually have that
Manufactured
yeah,
consent is what it is called, sir.
yeah, yeah. It is. That's wild. That
Yeah, but I mean,
sounds like
just
Noam Chomsky thing.
the reality is, though, I mean, just to bring up Squid's Only's comment here, like, I don't follow the mandates, but I did get fired from work, and the wife did too. Is that the reality? Is the mandates as BS as they were, like in my town as well, a lot of people got fired, man, just straight up lost
But
their job.
people have a legal claim because that's
I agree.
illegal as
Yep.
fuck.
Yep.
It's
I
illegal as
agree.
fuck.
Yeah,
So
it's
Yeah,
messed up.
if you live in the U.S., because these are the only laws that I do know factually, if you live in the U.S. and you have been fired or relieved of duty for these so-called vaccine, these so-called mandates, well, you have a legal claim. Period. It is your duty to pursue it as a citizen. Do not let these criminals get away with criminality. Simple.
yeah. I'm trying to get more and more of that information and try to break it down, like to the people I know, because I even got a good friend coming up to me whose wife can't go back to work because they used this make believe test that said she's got something that like it's what, and she can't come back to work.
Oh my God,
So
really? One of those
he's
false
hitting.
positives? Yo, you want to know something funny? Hold on. How
She
long
can't
ago did
work
she
because
take
she's
that
got
test?
one.
How long ago did she
Exactly.
take it? How long ago did she take it?
I mean, it wasn't that long. Like, she's only out a week of work, but
That's what
people
I'm
are
saying.
living
No, 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 no.
people
Because
living
check it.
paycheck to paycheck.
Well, hold on, brother, because this is my point. Over here, where I live, there's been a string of false positives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
So, no surprise that that happened because it seems like whatever they issued, because you got to realize where these tests coming from. They're coming from a centralized point,
Yeah.
right? So they know what they're doing. Don't think that all these false positives aren't magic. They're magic, bro.
Yeah. I mean, I gave up with Facebook as soon as I put out like the doctor that created the test was flat out saying you can't
Yeah,
use the test to test for this. The person
right.
that created it telling you directly the tests don't work for what they're using it for, and then
Yep.
it just continues to go on into fantasy land. And now my
So,
buddy's hitting me up because his wife can't work.
yep. So that test is literally made to test chemical solutions. That is all. It is not meant to test DNA tissue, which is what they're claiming it's doing. So good luck with that. Now, how do I know this? Well, I used to be a medical devices analyst, believe it or not. So I actually know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I've been talking about this shit for 2 years and nobody wants to believe me. But it's cool. I'm not a doctor, you know what I'm saying? I'm just some dumbass that can read. It's all good.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you're able to get in with the community and get, other people
Woo!
that think similar and have, the similar
Oh my
education. I've
gosh.
been able to, connect a lot of dots hanging out with the Hexicans and whatnot and be able to have that
Right.
community that can
Yeah.
explain things that
I've
not,
learned a whole lot more from everybody. 100%. Right?
Yep.
yeah. And it's a lot less isolating where it's like, oh yeah, if I
Yeah.
wasn't able to talk about it, it's like, yeah, my dude just, has trouble. He can't go to work. Now I got no one to say. And now I'm just, on the brim of poverty. I mean, some of
Right.
these people out here living paycheck to paycheck. It's wild.
100%. Yeah, it's very wild. I mean, these are the people following these crazy rules and laws and shit. Like, they don't even think. Like, they just like, point me in whatever direction you want and I will go there.
Yeah, I mean, there's two terms right now that have lost all value to me over the last 2 years. First one is experts, like
Oh, fuck yeah. I
whatever the
never
hell that means these
understood.
days.
Yeah, I never
Who's
understood.
that guy? Like, where do you get that? Like, who's the expert? Like, who is this guy? It's like when you see some guy in a pharmaceutical commercial and he's got a white lab coat on, so you immediately think he's a doctor. It's like, it's just an actor. Like, what gives
Right.
this guy the right to tell you what to put on your body? And then second is doctors. It's like, doctor, what? Like, obviously, most of you guys have been paid off to just say whatever the heck you're supposed to say. So
Correct.
you just got to, like, yeah, that's what's really important about the Hexagon community and the narrative that we got to keep pushing. Like, you guys just got to do your own research. Like, as
Must.
outlandish as it sounds, as tinfoil hatty as it sounds, like, you guys just gotta look into it, find the information. We have the internet these days, and just look into it. Like, ask hard questions and don't just listen to things that don't matter.
Yeah, shout out to Kyler because working in Hollywood, number one, is not easy. And it's definitely not easy in 2022, right? With all of this nonsense that's going on. So shout out to you, my brother. I know getting any meat down there got to be slim pickings for you, cause man, that is not easy.
Yeah, I've heard a
Yeah.
lot of actors are getting the fake, the fake
Yeah,
license saying they got
a
it so
hundred
they can
percent.
continue to work, but they're not getting it.
Hell
They're just
nah.
going along and getting the fake one, like
Otherwise, they be
pay
fucking
to
jogging
play.
and dying like all them soccer players.
Yeah, right. Oh my god, stuff is.
Holy shit, yo,
It's just not
you,
funny, dude.
yo, look, you want to know why I'm laughing? Because it's not funny.
Yeah.
It's not funny. But let me tell you why I'm laughing. I'm laughing because every time you see one of those guys fucking hit the floor, you can tell the look in their face that they knew they fucked up.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got to have a doubt when they taking this unfucking verified shit. Everybody knows that this shit is not fucking legal. What's happening right now? Everybody knows, and everybody just lets it happen. That's actually what's happening.
Yeah,
Tacit approval.
it's a strange moral code.
Strange. Yeah,
Very
it's very
strange. It's
weird.
like people
I don't get it.
because I mean I've been looking down the direction of, I don't know, I mean, my name's Mark Ravelli. I think about different ways of, like, people are moving and being leaders, and how you think about macro or whatever, but it's like, how are these people getting away with it at this large of a scale? It's just remarkable. People have no foundation of
None, bro.
anything to sway. It's like, oh, at what point do we say no? They have no reason to say no.
Yeah, it's like, exactly how? I don't get that. Where do people come off thinking they have no reason to say no to anything?
Yeah,
I don't
they
get
just
that.
continue to go along with it. It's just,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like, yo, go
know.
walk off this cliff. Okay, right? Like, what the fuck is going on, man?
Yeah. I mean, I saw this coming so many years ago, and people now, even when it's hitting them in the face, it's like they still don't see it hitting them in the face. Like I was literally like years and years ago, I was saying like if they are able to penetrate your skin with a vaccine, like it's game over. Like that's the penetration. That's when you have no autonomy. Like they have more rights over your body than you do. As soon as
Yep.
people go along to that point, it's game over. You know, you don't have control of your own body. They can do anything they want. And
Yep.
I mean, now they're just, here it is. Chess game is continued. Like that's their goal, obviously. Once they
Yeah.
have complete
I mean, they
power over you.
lost. They lost already in a lot of ways. They've lost that game. They've lost that chess game long ago because there's just too much information floating around for them to ever win it. You know what I mean? Like it's a lost cause for them. They can never ever like pull this off. You know,
Yep.
like
It's
go
it's all
ahead,
about
bro.
just the group. It's all about just the narrative, right?
Right.
There's this guy named Dr. Gad Sad. He wrote this book called The Parasitic Mind, and it's his thesis is all about just the pandemic of groupthink,
Mm,
and the tool of shame and social shame is very, very powerful.
right.
So when people are feeling like it's just like the fear of man, right? People are so afraid of what the person next to him think that they'd much rather seem obedient than seem disobedient, because it's that feeling of disobedient, feeling that people are judging you, feeling that people hate you for your decisions. And
Right.
that's what the media excels at, is they excel at making people feel terrible for making one decision versus another decision
Hundred
based on
percent.
just group think, right? So I think that's a lot of it. People are just motivated they don't want to step on the anthill. They don't want to punch the beehive. They don't, and the reality is like, they do a really good job of separating people so they don't have these conversations, where the
Correct.
reality is that like these people are actually probably feeling the same,
Hmm.
but this person assumes that that person is all about the mandates, and that person assumes that this person's all about
Yep.
the mandates.
Yep.
So they're just like, all right, let's
At
just not,
odds. At
yeah,
odds.
let's just not.
Yo, I gotta tell you, and I tell this story all the time just because it really, really highlights your point very well. So at work, I have a coworker, or had a coworker. She's no longer my coworker, but she's a black lesbian, right? Like she sounds like exactly what we would think a libtard, right? A person that can't think for themselves. They're gonna, follow the narrative to the T, and you can't tell them nothing.
Mhm.
Well, me and her never got along at the beginning, and eventually, after all of this started, we had to interact differently because we weren't just at the office, we were virtual. So we had to talk directly to each other. It was different. There were
Mhm.
no intermediary, there were no third parties there to interject. It was just me, her. So it forced us to have conversations. And turns out you are 100% correct. Because guess what? We agree on more than most things. We agree
Mhm.
on mostly everything, it turns out.
Did she
Mostly
admit to
everything.
did she
Go ahead.
admit to assuming that about you?
Of
Like how you
course.
she did, yeah.
Of course, bro. Because we all live off of stereotype assumptions and shit, right? Like I feel like we all do. I know I do to a certain extent because stereotypes are based on fact. They're not
Mhm.
based on fiction, unfortunately, they're based on fact in a lot of
Yep.
cases. So it's hard not to believe a stereotype, I think. I don't know. What do you guys
Yeah, but
think?
I think stereotypes are okay. I think what's wrong is judging people based on a stereotype, right?
Right,
And I
right,
think like Dave Chappelle did such a good job of this. Like when he used to laugh about black humor and white
right.
humor and make fun
He
of
would
black
make fun
people
of
and make fun of
everybody.
white people.
He'd make fun of
And
everybody.
and that's okay, because the reality is like racism isn't admitting that black people and white people are different. The racism is judging people based on that differences. It's like
Right.
it's okay to admit like, hey, we like different things, we like different musics, we
Of
were raised
course.
differently. It's like that's okay. Like
But
who
that's how it
cares?
works, right?
That's
Even people
good.
with the
It's
same
good.
skin color as you are going to be different.
Absolutely.
But that's the point. That's
And
why
it's
it's completely moronic.
yeah, and it's a beautiful thing, right? It's a
Right.
beautiful thing. That's the way it should be. We should be
Right.
different. We don't want to be all just like the color
Imagine
gray,
one
right? The
point of
color
view.
gray. That's
Imagine one
every
point of view.
Yeah,
only.
exactly. Everyone's
How
trying to
boring
force
is
you into
that?
the color gray.
Fuck
We're
that.
just, yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, I
I'll
think we can
pass.
all agree, yeah, to not just having one point of view. Like that does not make a winning situation ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
fuck that.
stereotypes, and also like there's character like archetypes. Like you've all seen like the
Mm,
same person everywhere
yeah,
you go. It's not the
that's
same
true.
person, but it's also like,
Characters are similar to some
yeah, it's
extent.
like, oh, this person has the same tendencies as this person that I went to school with. I guess I see that all the time. And yeah, you make these preconceived ideas, but that's the thing. It's like fundamentally, all those people, different shades, different character types, like we all don't enjoy being broke. We all
Yeah,
want to have a future where we're not enslaved to a system that we can never repay. Like, and that's where crypto comes in. It's like there's so much variety, but at fundamental core level, we've all got like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's like we have to be, we don't want to just survive, we want to thrive.
correct. And I love this comment by El Angel. Or, well, I said it in Spanish, but it means the angel. In English, Hex is our colonial script. The Revolutionary War was sparked by commerce. Hexicans are the new revolutionaries, and I 100% agree because Hexicans are focused on building infrastructure right now, right? They're focused on giving ourselves the platforms that we need in order to do what we have to do, so to speak, right? Because that's what a lot of us are focused on. A lot of people that are so-called retired, they're not really retired, right? Like they're out here building shit. So, you got the thing I'm working on with MCA, and then the Hex scale, and then Motley and them with Legion VC. Like you got a whole lot going on in the background, and there's stuff that
Hmm.
we don't even know about, right? Like there's a lot going on at all times, and this is a function of people's desire, right, to want to achieve things, and having issues with the system as they are, and trying to find positive ways that add value to the system as it is, right? So that we can work our way up to a point where, you know, we can actually affect change, because
Yep.
that's the ultimate goal, I think.
Yeah. One of the things too, I'm just trying to swat down is like, I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter, but I've been trying to get into that space more and more just because I know it's important to be there. And one of the things I keep hearing is like people referring to Hexicans as a cult. And it's like, look, the reality is we're not a cult, but we are a community. And there's just nothing wrong with having a community with similar worldviews and shared interests. Like, don't let people shame you for being a part of a community. That's like, it's so stupid. Like, it's just okay. It's okay to be a part of a community where it's like we all kind of like and agree on some of the same things. Like that's the point of a community, but it doesn't make us a cult. And I just think it's important for people not to think that like, oh, just because you're a Hexkin or you're part of the Hex community, you're part of a cult. And it's like, no, that's BS. That's just
Yeah.
BS narrative crap. Like, don't
Yeah.
listen to that. That's
I,
stupid.
I think like statism is a much bigger cult than like being a hexakin. Like if
Hell
I mean
yeah.
you can just throw words at people like this is that or that is that. It's just like
Mhm.
whatever. What's really going on? It's like words don't mean anything. It's like,
Yeah. I
Hex
completely
is
agree.
trying to free me while the laws you guys keep passing seems to keep setting me behind. Like nothing has really gotten me ahead other than investing in fucking Hex. Like I've tried a lot of different ways and you just get swatted down all the time. And it's just, I mean, just systematic with it. Like since from cradle to grave, they got you. And it's just wild.
Hmm. It
Yeah,
is from cradle
everything's
to
a cult.
grave. Yeah. Well, yeah, to a certain extent, it is, right. But I agree with you, man. Everything, it's strange, right? We're born and we're fed all of this misinformation, literally from day one. And even our parents are duped into it. They don't know any better, right? I mean, even when you're getting out of a hospital with your child, right? Like they dupe you into signing away your child's life, basically, to a
Oh,
certain
yeah,
extent. You
absolutely.
know,
That's, yeah.
And it's crazy because you just don't view it that way. But that's
Mhm.
exactly what just happened.
Yeah,
And go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, I've been digging at that. Like when having my child, like 10 years ago, it's like I like look into it. It's like, okay, at what point does the state enslave my child? So it's like I look into it. It's like, oh, as soon as they put his footprint on a piece of paper, his 3D body goes into the 2D, and then the state controls him, and then he's put on a number, and then he's like sold on the stock exchange for like his potential earnings, and he's like an economy of the US corporation. And it's like they've got you ensnared in a system that most people have no idea that that's like what's going on. And it's just, I love hearing more and more Hexicans waking up to that idea of, yes, like even before you step foot on earth, they got you. They got your footprint on a piece of paper that they file and make money off of before you even go goo goo gaga.
Literally, right? I mean, that shit is crazy.
Mhm.
It's crazy because that's exactly how it works. And I mean, this is all information that again can be found. So this isn't like, no theory. This is fact. So if you don't
Yeah.
know, look it up.
Also, I just want to shout out Firecracker in the chat. He's asking just really good questions about T-shares and how Hex
So
works, and
we haven't even gotten to
so
that part yet.
yeah, I just want to say, brother, we like to go on rants here and there, but glad you're here, and we'll get to a lot of this Hex stuff, and hopefully be able to answer some of those questions if they
Yeah,
get answered in the
we're
chat. So
we're
you're in the
gonna
right
get
spot.
there, bro. Sorry, man. But we like to give our little world point of view real quick, and then get to the party. Which is because we already know we got the money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't really concern ourselves with that because all we're doing is updating ourselves with the statistical information. That's really all we're doing. When I'm when I'm on the scene, that's pretty much all that's going on.
Yeah, I'm to the point. It's like once you've like we found the cheat codes. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
wake up, hex.com. Like these are the money cheat codes. This is how you get financially,
free.
sovereign. Like this is how
Yeah,
you do it. Like, yeah, you can ask about a T-share. Yeah, buy Hex, stake it, go.hex.com, be
you just
free.
gotta do it. You just gotta
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Like that's the biggest thing, right? Like if like I remember somebody asked on Twitter the other day, like, what's the biggest thing you regret doing at the beginning? Like, what do you wish you would have done differently, basically? And if you guys can in the chat, write what you wish you would have done differently, right? Do you wish you would have staked all of your T-shares for 15 years? Do you wish you would have done a better ladder? Do you wish you would have done your big payday strategy differently? Like, what do you wish you would have done differently?
You know what I wish? I wish I wasn't a slave to a 9 to 5 job, and I would have been able to hear and listen to Richard Hart sooner. So I could have got into Hex sooner.
Right.
And I could have got into Bitcoin sooner if I had the time to look into it. Or hey, guess what? How about all that money and tax dollars that go to our educational system? Why the fuck they didn't tell me about Bitcoin when I was growing up? Like any of you,
Yeah,
like
right. Yeah, right. That's a good one.
yeah, I do wish,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
we are here now,
Right.
and this is where we're going from. Some people do need to learn about Hex, like at a basic thing. There's a lot, t.me/Hex crypto, Telegram, download it, answer all your questions. You got Pulse Chain chat, like you've got the Pulse X chat in there. They will
Yeah, we
answer
got a
all
whole
those simplified.
ecosystem now.
Yeah, we've got
Shit.
it all. Like you ask, you shall receive continues to
Mhm.
happen with Hex. There's so many people springing up like fucking just insane flowers I never thought existed on this planet, just filling gaps that like just start connecting all these dots, like this fucking dude with the flying car thing with the energy and stuff. Like this stuff keeps
Yeah.
happening. It's crazy.
Straight up sci-fi beaming energy through outer
Right.
space. It's like, who is this guy? He's
Oh,
like, this is
shit.
reality.
Like a
It's
zenith
insane.
what?
Yeah. It's like, wait, you
Fuck,
suck
Yeah.
man.
you suck energy from where? The
Yeah,
Right.
the
but
core of
that's the
the earth?
thing. That's the thing
What?
is I've been looking into this stuff like forever, like as deep as I can, and then it's just like, oh, here's the guy that needs to who's doing it. He's already basically he's
Yeah.
got a working model type stuff, and
Right.
that's George Wentz that we're referencing. He's been hooking up with different hexagons,
Yeah, Hexagon
bringing
streamers.
that out. And that's
Yeah.
that's one thing we've been looking about, getting loans against your crypto, like Hedron liquid loan stuff. These people then come up and fill these voids that we need, that we ask for. Ask and you shall receive. It's crazy.
Ecosystems being built, man, and that's what it's about, right? That's what community is for. That's what decentralization is about, right? I mean, if
Mhm.
there's and this is what I say, right? Like, and this is kind of what I mean when I state the following, right? And because I honestly believe the notion of money is flawed. Like, I don't think we actually need money. I think that what we need is an ability to record transactions and allow people to find their way, because people will fill whatever gap is necessary based on their desires, because everybody has a desire. And that once somebody is fulfilling their desire, they can be happy, right? And most people are not happy because they're doing shit that they don't want to do.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, and so I think the narrative is that if people can just do whatever they want, then people will just sit around on the couch and do nothing, which
right.
is
I
just
think
clearly
that's,
not true.
yeah,
Because I mean, I retired at the beginning of this year, and just like you're saying, Wells, I've been
yeah,
freaking grinding, bro.
there you
Like
go.
every hexagon I know that's retiring, quote unquote, is just doing everything like yeah. I think people were born to work. Like work is good. You
Yeah,
don't want to just sit around and do nothing. Like that's just not good. So
boring.
uh, people with the resources not to have to do something but get to do something, I think that get to do something, um, especially when you're part of a community like Hex, it genuinely is a value add,
Yeah,
for most people, right? Obviously that's not for everybody, but for those who are mature and smart, and most people in Hex are, because they had to figure it out, probably will try to use that time to add value.
yeah. And this is kind of like why Hex is cool, right? Because it already does that for
Yeah.
you. Funny how everything always comes back to Hex, huh?
So yeah, to answer Nathan's question, do we think it's smart to save enough Hex to guarantee yourself a whole T share for a stake? I guess it just depends, man. Like, do you
Yeah, I think about that
is
shit often, actually. It's a
like
tough one.
one thing to think about it is like, if it's going to take you 6 months to get that, like, well, that's one thing. Or if you have a third of a T share, you could stake it for the minimum of a 10-year, and you can get yourself a full T share with time. So that's one way to do it as well. Instead of using more money, you can use the bigger pays better bonus, and you would need a third of a T share, which right now I don't even know, what do we got, like 21,000 Hex.
20,484 Hex per T-share.
Yeah, so we're looking
yeah,
at 4,000 or something a T share. So you got like $1,200. You could stake that for a minimum of 10 years, and you would get yourself an entire T share. But yeah, you'd get a B share otherwise. So that's just the way the system's designed to work. Is if you can't get a T share, you'll get B shares instead, and those will just print you less Hex per day. Um, and it's just it's just up to you, man. I think it really is just based
yeah.
on what you
Don't
want to
get
do.
caught up on like the word T-share. Like Hex is a
Yeah.
system. Like the way that I learned it is like, I was trying to just break even, like with the gas thing, and then like the staking and the unstaking, like you get into it, you figure it out. It's like, okay, it cost me $35 to stake it. And then if I go X amount of days, it's going to cost me, $35 to unstake it perhaps. And so I have to put in enough money where I'm going to be able to earn at least enough yield to cover the staking and unstaking mechanism. So that gives you an idea of like, oh, so I got to put in X amount of money, like $500 for at least, 4 or 5 months or whatever to break even. I don't know what the exact numbers are right now, but that's like where I started. And once I found where the break even point was, I then continued to build a ladder out from that, because I knew, oh, well, this is just guaranteed more income into my life. Like I know at this point I'm going to have, $75. And now, I go this much further, I'm going to have another $75. And that's just like on top of your regular work schedule. you're making another $75 every, 3 to 4 months, depending on what you're putting in. That might be where you start off. And that's without price appreciation. Like, that's the system. Wouldn't you like to make another $75 every 3 to 4 months just by pushing a couple buttons, like with passive money? Like, once you learn how to use money and time to your advantage, you learn the system, you start making money with your money. And you can call it a T share, B share, whatever. You want to make another $75. Here's a system that can do it. And then without all the other mumbo jumbo of, oh yeah, price appreciation, maybe within 3 to 4 months, Hex goes up, some ridiculous amount, and it's no longer $75. It's $7,500 or something within
Mhm.
3 to 4 months. And then that catches you off guard, and hopefully you learn the system by then. But it's like, you learn the system, you stake, and then the system pays you to a point where, like, we got here, Diamond Dad, is it?
Yep. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he was able to use the system, I was able to use the system, Wales was able to use the system, and it's like, we don't really have to work that much. We're doing the things that we love. Like, we're on here, I'm live with Wales. Like, I got to tell Richard Hart I loved him the other night, like on that Spaces thing. He heard me, like, it was amazing. Like, talking to billionaires, like, this community is amazing, and the system works.
Yeah. Yep. And the key is like it's the length of the stake that matters, right? So, and I'm looking in the chat. A lot of people are saying, we should just start calling them shares and all these kind of things. So like the APY is not necessarily how big your stake is, but how long it is. So, just send it now. That's what I would do. Just send that sucker. 10 years, baby. And if you want, you can wait for Hedron. And if that's a smart contract that you like, that may incentivize you to even go longer if it makes you feel better.
Yeah, that is another quick thing. If people talking about T-shares or whatnot, like, Hedron's taking a couple of those, risk factors out of your head, where it's like, oh, well, if I stake this long, I got to do at least 7.5 years just to get my principal back. So, maybe, you have no idea what could come up within, the next 15 years or the next 7.5 years. And Hedron, like all these other wild things, like, Hexicans are building the infrastructure we need where any of the gaps, come up. Like, if something were to happen, you need to end a stake. Like, we've got the community working it out for you.
Right.
Yep. Good
Yeah,
question, man.
yeah, it's a good question. My point of view is as follows. You gotta kind of decide, and thanks for the super chat, brother. I think we all feel like that, right? Wish I knew then what I know now, but what will I know in 1 year? Yeah, because it's been a crazy year and some change for most of us. So
This year, bro. A
yeah,
lot of us got a lot of investments wrapped up in the what ifs. So I think those what ifs are going to become a reality here before too long.
correct, correct. Yeah, so like the way I view it, you gotta consider the dollar amount you're putting down, just like Diamond Dad was saying, and you gotta consider the APY with respect to what your stake length is gonna be, and that's how you make that decision. I don't think you should take shares into consideration at all. You put down what you can afford and take into account that you're gonna get the respective yields in crypto terms, and that's more than enough because your return is gonna definitely far surpass what you outlaid in capital, right? Because the interest is always greater than the capital gain when it comes to Hex, or the yield, excuse me. It's always greater than the capital gain when it comes to Hex. So, I mean, depending on the stake length, and the longer it is, the truer that statement becomes.
Mm.
So, that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah. And
Um,
also, I mean, talking staking strategy, I like what Kareem talks about, where you put, you take advantage of the system the best you can. Now's the best day for the T-share rate. So if you just put out, he says, which makes a lot of sense, you do like 33% or 30% out
yeah,
15 years, and then you can just stay liquid and say, who cares? Like, I'm making that interest. I'll stay liquid. Any money I need, it's in Hex, but it's liquid. I can take it out if I need it, and I've got those T-shares locked in. I'm getting that interest. So you can just be like, taking away the interest that you're gaining on that 15-year stake and live off of it, knowing that you're creating it, as long as you got enough of a liquid bag to, you know, feed off of. But hopefully you're adding to it, and then you build a staking ladder that gets you closer to that 15 years and it comes down. But yeah, strategy.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's all good suggestions, bro. All good comments, because at the end of the day, they're all accretive, right? They're all adding value to what you're trying to do, and that's the whole point. Um, if you can find something that's going to help you add value to what you're trying to do, well, that's what you should be doing, because that's what it's about. It's not about anything else. So
Yeah, value and desire, where do those two like coalesce? Because I hear you talk about desire, and then like value is kind of a vague thing. It would help me maybe communication wise, like where does that cross in your mind? Either of your minds?
yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, and would you flesh that out a little bit more when you say value and desire? So what do you mean by that?
Is there value and desire? Like, is there a point where you can have so much value where you don't need, you're not desiring anything else outside, like you're just like full of so much value where you're not really desiring anything? I don't know, the concept of like being an overflowing cup. Like
Like being
you're not
satiated.
being a fully fixed like unit of energy. Like you don't need anything else. You're a like autonomous thing, like the way we talk about energy and stuff. It's like, but when you work in emotion and desire, like, you know, this isn't the regular t-shirt conversation, but I fucking love Wales, and I love the way he talks about desire, and I know he's got something figured out in his head. And I keep trying to get like chip in there, find those diamonds of what's really his motivation. Like he's got a clear vision for things, and I just like
So
that desire
me,
concept. Yeah.
Diamond Dad, let me hear what you got to say. I'm interested in hearing what you got to say.
Yeah, I mean, I just would say I come from a little bit different of a worldview. Like, I was a pastor for 5 years, and I'm retired now, so that's generally where I find my value is in my religion, right? But I know that's not for everybody. So, and I'm not here to try to preach or push that point of view on anybody. But for me, my desires are met, so I don't have to find my desire in Hex or financial gain or anything like that. But that's where I come from, right? And I'm not, you know, again, I want to be careful and
good.
not go too far here, but that's where I'm at, and that's where my desires get met. So that's what's important for me personally.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Good answer. For me, it's more of a, you know, a lot of people have a reason to put in all these hours to figure out how to get rich or wealthy, right? So to me, when you're searching for that value, it's a function of that desire, whatever it is that's motivating you to succeed. And for me, I mean, mostly everybody knows what I'm working for, so nothing needs to be said, but that's the way I view it. You know, what makes you get up every day? Why are you doing what you're trying to do? You know, what is that motivating factor that has you in Hex, that has you in whatever, right? That's what I consider value and desire. Like, that's what I think that drives that crisscross.
Yeah, the motivational concept, but that's coming like from within. You're just like putting it towards the right. Like how do you find like the value, and then like what to do? Like I feel like Diamond Dad, he's kind of like coming from this place of not needing to do anything, as where like the motivation comes in, where it's like you have the motivation to do these things, but like I don't know, I'm just trying to work these kind of things out.
Yeah, and just to make a little comment on that, like I don't feel unmotivated. I actually feel the opposite. I feel free to explore like the way I think I'm made, right? Like, what are my gifts? What I've been put on this planet to do? And I'm free to take risks because of that. right? Because I'm like, I don't really care what people think. I don't really care, like I don't. People can love me, they can hate me, they can think my ideas are stupid, but I feel free to take risks, and those risks are to try to add value in a way that I think adds value to this community. So I have some ideas on how to do that, and I feel free to take those risks to do that, because I'm not trying to make a buck, and I'm not trying to impress anybody, and I'm working from a place, for me personally, a place of freedom. And that's what I hope for a lot of people. And I think there's different ways to find that, but how I found it is where I'm coming from personally.
Right,
Yeah,
but
see,
go ahead, Mark. Go
it
ahead.
seems like a lot of hexicans have found the value system, and now we're all just able to give back. We're just all givers around here now. It's just awesome. Like,
Well,
and
yeah, and
we're motivated to have that connection for other people, to get into the same abundant mind state. Like Hex is basically giving us all this weird reservoir of motivation that's perpetuating us. And we haven't even said Richard Hart yet. Barely.
yeah,
We haven't-
and I think that comes down to like the language of just like the chains, right? Because financial obligation is a form of slavery, straight up is, right? When they control your wallet, they control you. So what we see in the Hexagon community is people start to break the chains of this financial structure that's been put in place that forces people into a 9-to-5 job that just requires people not to flourish. It's just not a flourishing environment when you wake up and you say, okay, I have to put bread on the table. When you're put into the position where you have to put bread on the table, and you don't, and you're not put in the position where it's like, hey, I get to put bread on the table, or how can I put bread on the table? It's the have to situation that I think forces people into situations that they don't necessarily want to be in, like jobs that they hate. You just go down the line, like colleges, they didn't want to go to college, but they feel like they had to go to college because they want to put bread on the table and all this kind of stuff. So I think what we're finding in the Hexagon community is you don't have the have to anymore, but you have the get to, because more and more people are getting freed from this slavery of the have to. And I think that results in good things on the whole. I mean, that's what we see in the Hexagon community is generally people want to add value if they are given the chance. Unfortunately, most people just aren't given the chance, I think that's the problem.
Absolutely. I think a lot of hexicans are trying to find ways to give back. And yeah, this system's amazing.
Yeah, so I was I've been afforded several opportunities myself to contribute to the community, and I've also been afforded not only just the opportunity to stream, but also the opportunity to provide value in real life to people, right? I mean, it's one thing to tell people how to get rich and help them see it, and help them exert that reality, and make it happen by helping them understand the right elements of that decision making process. Because to me, that's the biggest thing, right? Because at the end of the day, we all have to say yay or nay, right? We all have to say yay or nay. It's not simply, okay, Whale said buy it, so I'm gonna buy it. Nah, that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. See what we got here. When a stake ends, you can just cash out the interest and restake the hex. But will the restaked hex buy less shares? Yes, every single time. And the correct term, sir, is yield, not interest. But yes, you will get less shares every time.
Yep. Just
Or
and
you,
just to go ahead, brother.
I just want to say rewards as well.
Yeah, rewards
Like
is
I
actually
don't.
the better term. Yeah.
Yeah, rewards is a better term. I'm trying to get on board with that idea. And I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say. It seems like you got to. There's a lot of onboarding opportunity in the chat. Like I'm trying to
Right.
ask. I'm trying to ask these wild questions, and people are just like, "How do I stake
Like,
this
what does
shit?"
it mean? Just, what does it all mean, man? What's the
Right.
deal?
What does it
Yeah,
all mean?
These stars, man. These stars. Where are we in this universe?
that's where I'm at. I'm coming off that spaces with Hex Orca and stuff, and it's just like, yo,
Yo, shout out to
what's
Hex Orca, man.
yeah.
I was on the call, or on the spaces, in the spaces, when we crossed the 5,555th minute mark.
Yeah. I hopped in for the close there.
You were
That's
there for that
insane.
too? Yeah, man. That
Yeah.
shit was crazy, bro. That was almost 4 days for those that don't know.
Yeah, I
Three
don't
Yeah,
know if that
I
homie
was there
was
right at
up
the
3.86
for 4 days.
days. 3.86.
Dude's a legend.
Yep.
yeah, I was there right at the beginning, trying to keep him going as long as I could. Yeah, I'm so happy that
Hmm.
that sprang into something, and I'm hoping he comes back and does it. And that's where it's like,
I'm about to put Hexo to work. I'm about to send him a link.
yeah, please, oh
Put
my
him and
god,
his wife to work. Put them both on the stream, and I'm gonna go take the next couple hours off. Maybe I'll get some nice super chats.
Uh, really quick too. I want to jump back why we're making a big deal about the interest thing.
Yeah.
It's just really important we get the interest thing right, because the definition of interest is the money earned off of the loaning of money. That's what interest is.
Yep.
So it's important that we understand that, because when we say interest, it's just not interest.
It's
Now,
not.
there is some confusion generated from this because the man himself has referred to it as interest, and on the website it says interest. But the reality is if you guys look up the definition of interest, which I would encourage you to do, interest is the money received from the lending of money. That's what interest is. And in Hex, there is no lending of money. We do not lend money, right? It's you mint your own rewards, right? If you guys don't understand what that means, it's you placing your Hex into a safe that you own, and now that Hex gets burned, and now you're given something else in return, and that's a T-share. And that T-share prints rewards, just like Marcavelli was saying. So like we get rewards from the Hex contract, we do not get interest. So that's why it just matters the language we use, because interest is also, it's just different, right? It's just a completely different beast. So there is no interest in the Hex contract. Important to understand that.
I mean, words are so important. It's just insane. Like
Yeah, we were just talking
saying,
about that.
yeah, one specific, like that could just change your life. Like if you say the wrong word at the wrong time, like if you don't know exactly what the hell you're talking about, like luckily we got the mountain thing you're doing with the,
Come on, crypto advisors. Yeah.
yeah, I'm so glad you got people like that, because you know, when it comes to legal stuff like interest, rewards, like that could be a backbreaker if you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what you're talking about. And it's just like, I really want us to be on that same page where it's like, oh yeah, we're all using the same, you know, cliff notes of how to not ruin yourself.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
it matters. So
Yeah, it really does. It really does. Only rewards. That's right. Yeah, I mean, I really rather not even use the word deal. I'd rather just use the word rewards.
yep,
Yeah,
this is we
I still
clarify that
don't understand.
language. So
Yeah, I still don't understand it. I think I might have even just heard Hexo saying it, like, and as soon as he said it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense, because I don't understand interest. Like if someone says interest, like it's kind of difficult to understand like what that means.
Yeah, I have
I
no
don't,
idea what mukbang is. So, I see. Perhaps something to consider. It's
sounds
basically
naughty.
basically an eating show. Because I was eating something a couple minutes ago.
You're always eating something. You're always
I'm
eating
always
or
eating
smoking
something.
something.
Yo, because I'm always doing some shit, man. I don't really be having time like that, bro. So I gotta just get it in when I can. So I'm sorry, guys. It is
It's
what
all
it
right.
is.
It's part of your charm. It's part of that whale's charm.
Right? Okay. Thanks for the super chat, bro. Appreciate it. But yeah, man. I mean, look, it's it's basically time, right? Hex has basically been going sideways. Oops, wrong chart. For a long time. Uh, let's put this over here. Um, and it can only go sideways, but for so long before oscillators exhaust or sideways price action exhausts itself, right? And that typically leads to reversal, and that typically leads to uptrend in price. So I think we're entering that point in time right now where Hex is basically done going sideways for a little while, and we're just gonna start seeing some profound price action upward, because we're running up right on that trend line, as we can see here. I have it labeled here as well. And I think that if you look at V1, I think that's that trend line. Let's Confirm. No, it's not. No, somebody else got one there somewhere, so it's cool. I seen a trend line somewhere, so we riding that one, whichever one that is. It don't need to
Um,
be on my chart. Oh, here it is. I just haven't extended it. Let me extend it. I'm such a clown. There we go. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. Ah, ah,
Will's only one's charts are just
ah.
absolutely on a different level than every other human being on planet Earth. Like,
Is that
what
right?
is going on?
I don't. Yeah, I don't
Looks
really.
like a
I don't.
space battle, like straight up Star Wars space battle. Like, I can't even
Yeah,
begin to understand what's happening.
I don't do the whole textbook TA thing. It just doesn't work for me. Because when I tried to learn that stuff, it was just not plus. Like it seemed like whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I just do my own thing. Like if I see a pattern, I just go with that, and that's it. And that's what I recommend everybody do when it comes to TA, because your brain works for you, doesn't work for somebody else. So that's probably the best thing you should be doing, because you can't lose when you do that, right? If you're going off of what makes sense to you, well, shit, how can you go wrong? You
oh
literally
shit, we be
cannot.
going live 55555.
Oh, missed it. But you
I
can't
just
go
saw.
wrong, right? You can't go wrong if you're doing what makes sense to you. So
Yeah.
that's what I always recommend people do. Because that's honestly the winning strategy, man. You can't lose when you're doing what's good for you. So do that.
Firecracker, like, here's one thing that I tell people in Hex all the time. The worst metric to look at in Hex is the price.
Yep.
The best metric, like if you want just some hopium, just go to Hex Daily Stats, hexdailystats.com, I think, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
hexdailystats.com, and just go look at users, average staking length, stakers. Like that number is basically always every single day up and to the right, and those are the metrics you want to pull from. The chart is fun to speculate on, and obviously it means good things for all of us who are holding Hex, but at the end of the day, like for metrics wise, for health wise, like there's just better metrics than the chart. So that's just important to understand if you're new to Hex.
Yeah. 100%. Because the price chart really is just gonna show you whatever the interaction is with the contract. That's it. Thank you for the super chat. So if you do mint your rewards, you don't have to claim. If so, good accounting does not matter. What? Yeah, if your stake ends, you have a 2 week period of time by which you have to claim your stake, either by minting it or good accounting. That is all. After that, you start getting taxed at 1% a week for taking up space in the share pool. Hope that makes sense.
Here's a question I had, just really quick, Wells. Maybe you know the answer to this. If you never claim your stake, at what point do those T-shares get obliterated? Like, say if you just like leave
At
your
the end of that 52-week period or 50-week period where you're getting taxed, or not 52-week period, 100-week period where you're getting taxed 1% a week.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
there's a 2 week grace period where nothing happens, and then 1% a week after that. So you got 100 weeks.
Got it. Cool.
So that's what's going on with that.
But yeah, if people are super excited about the price on a daily, I think Crypto Bobcat does like a morning stream, all TA stuff, and you've got oh man, there's a bunch of TA hexicans doing that daily, basically.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know why, but yeah.
Especially right now, there's just like that's one of the things I've been telling people. It's like there's just a lot of shenanigans going on right now, guys. Like there's just it's just like TA is almost worthless at this point because it's just like we don't know what is happening. Like
What?
the macro stuff is what matters right now. Like
Yeah. There's so much going on. I could literally stream on macro every single day. That's how much stuff is going on.
yeah, especially even just like the macro stuff that's going on in the ecosystem of Hex, Pulse Chain,
Right.
copies, and
There's
Pulse
enough
X.
going on in our ecosystem, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's crazy.
It
Yeah,
literally is.
if I could, I mean, a price
Uh-oh.
prediction, if I could just say, just like for the sacrifice, there's incentive for the price to be down until February
We got a
26th,
special
right?
guest in the back, man. But go ahead,
Please be
ask your
Hexo.
question.
Please be Hexo.
You think so?
I hope so.
You think so?
Or Jesus.
Maybe. It's close. It's close. Boom.
Yes.
He
What's
is.
up,
He's
guys?
hiding in the back.
No crumbs on the mic.
Yeah.
What's going on, brother?
No crumbs. Not this time. You guys better watch out. What's up, Diamond Dad? What's up, Marcavelli?
What's up, homie?
What a
Wales, what's up?
What's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Just I got your message. I got the message. Had to
Yo,
come.
The bat
This is
signal. The
this
hex
is
up
the
signal.
this is the second time I've streamed with Hexo. The first
Is it?
time, yeah, the first time was Friday with the MCA thing. That was it.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I
we've
didn't-
never
I
streamed
thought-
before.
Two
That's crazy. I
legends
didn't
never
think-
met in the arena before.
In the arena,
Oh,
right?
Twice.
Yeah, we've met in real life like more times than we've met,
Yeah.
met on stream. I
On
guess.
stream, yep. Plenty of times in real life. Ain't that funny?
That is pretty crazy. I didn't realize that we'd never done a stream.
Yeah.
Because I thought you were on one of the 24-hour streams. No, I guess
Mm-mm.
not.
Mm-mm.
That was like right when you got in, huh? Or
Yeah, that was like right after. That was right before all the 24-hour streams you guys were doing. I started
Yeah.
streaming like right after that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was right after that.
awesome.
You guys were having a ball doing all that crazy shit. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
A ball.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, a ball
Hey,
doing
heck,
24-hour streams. I don't know if that's the. Hold on, I gotta zoom this thing in. There we go.
Well, and just those daily streams, it's so awesome to have that daily motivational booster. Like the price can be all over the place from day to day, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's up and to the right, but it's just like
Right.
you get. I mean, the price goes down 60%. Blah blah blah. It's just like it's so beautiful the way you just smack fudsters for years daily. I just swat them. I've loved it forever.
No, it was great. Back in the day, it was really fun. I need to start streaming again. The thing is my life is so different than it was 2 years ago because of Hex that I can't even do it anymore. It's like I got stuff that I actually have to do. Like before, I didn't have enough money to do anything, so it was like
Now
I'm gonna
that's it.
stream
You
now.
gotta do.
Now I got so much to do. Like being in Hex, like I didn't think that I would give myself a job, but I gave myself a job. It's like now I've got.
Yeah, we were
That's
just
for
talking about
sure.
that.
Having more money does not mean you got more free time. It's
We
like
were literally just talking about that, like
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
20 minutes ago. Yeah. Like
Really?
right
Yeah.
before you jumped in. Yeah, right before you jumped in.
I mean, dude, it's like you got less time because you have to figure out how. I don't know if you guys want
Fit it
to,
all in.
but you have to find it's a full-time job on what to do with your money. Like that's what you're just like, oh, I gotta do the taxes. I gotta do this. I gotta go. I gotta go put this into there. And yeah, I don't know how billionaires have the time to go out and do anything. I guess they have other people doing it for them.
That's what Wells and I were talking about in the green room. It's like they pay people for that, right? That's exactly what it is, right?
Yeah, but I mean, Richard Hart, he pays people and they don't fucking do it. So that's why he's like doing this. He's making millionaires. So it's like, hey, I don't have to physically pay you anything. You're now becoming millionaires and billionaires. There's fucking Hex billionaires. Like he's created billionaires. It's so much easier to just make billionaires and have them do shit rather than trying to pay them to do something.
I don't know if that's easier.
Well,
I think that's actually
it is
very
in the
hard.
long run. I mean, apparently that's a big incentive of why he's doing this.
Yeah, it is. It's a good incentive to what's the incentive for me if somebody gives me, it's like Richard, if he was going to do the thumbnails and he's like, hey, I'll give you $15 an hour. I'd be like, dude, I don't want to do that for $15 an hour.
Right.
I want to do it to pump my own bags. Like I don't do it for any money. I do it
It's
for
almost
free
demoralizing for $15 an hour.
Right?
Bro.
Yeah, it's like, what is he gonna pay me? Like something I don't really care about. Even if whatever he pay you, whatever you get to a certain point where you're just like, it's not about like making the small crumbs. If you guys know the
Easy.
I can't say crumbs on this anymore.
You've tainted the word, X.
I tainted the word. But the small crumbs, you can't even do it for that anymore. Like you just got to do it to be like, hey, this could pump my bags by 10%, and 10% is more than Richard's gonna pay you for a year. or
100%.
something. You know, it's like why do it for money? Just do
And
it
it's gonna
for,
happen faster
and for
too.
everybody, and
And it's
for
gonna happen
it helps everybody.
and it happens in an instant.
Yeah,
Right, like Hex
exactly.
when Hex starts moving, man, people forget because it hasn't happened in a while. But when Hex starts moving, that thing does not stop.
No.
Yep.
It's light speed only. That's the only gear it has. It doesn't have slow motion. It
Yep.
only has slow motion when it's going sideways or down. That's it.
Ooh, are we at 21 cents? Nice. Finally.
Yeah, we're already above
Jeez.
21 cents.
So are you guys talked about the horrific dip? The dip.
We're getting there. We're
I
getting there.
know. I'm so tired of it. But you know, we got
The beautiful dip is what I like to call it.
it's a beautiful dip if you're not like if you're buying.
Right.
If you're all in and you're like not buying anymore, you're like, just go up, please. Go up.
The only thing for me is just the few people that I happen to get into Hex at the 50 cent
Yeah.
mark, because I thought for sure if
yeah.
she was going for another run, you know, it's like, oh, it's the time,
Yeah.
man. This is the last chance you're gonna have. It's gonna go crazy, man. I've been watching all the TA. You just wait, and you're like, so about that waterfall for 3 months.
Yeah, 'cause that thing went all the way to 12 cents or so, like 10 cents or so. Like that thing took a dip, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
where you just talk
cool.
about T-shares a lot. You're just like, oh man,
Yeah.
T-shares though, they're
But
so
that's
good.
the point of T-shares, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can't forecast what a market is going to do. Like the way Hex was running, it was never going to stop going up. It really looked like that because it ran up for. Look at this damn chart. It ran up from November to September. That was almost 10 months straight of running nonstop. Right? Like start of December. I'm sorry.
Just
start of
naked
December.
through the woods, you know, just streaking.
Just streaking, just boom, gone. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. Just all those X's, man. Wow.
I mean, I think that we're always going to get the sell off in December, or probably because so Hex came out in December.
Yeah.
And so I think that people with those first 2 or 3 months, they staked it out 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years. So every year we're going to get these huge whales that stake from day one for a year or 2 years or 3 years. That, you know, that's where we're going. But I think it pretty much tapers off by February. And by February, we run out of sellers, and then it just goes up for the rest of the year. And then December, it kind of pulls back, and we get a little bit of accumulation, and then it just takes off for another, 9 months. So I think it's just going to be a rotation of just people selling their stakes at the end of the year for tax reasons as well, too.
Yeah. I mean, this was January. All of this right here was January.
Yep. But that was right after the big payday. Big payday's a little bit.
This is big payday right here.
Yeah, that's right.
This is big payday. This is early December, right at the bottom, like first week, December 7th or 8th. Yep. This is all December straight run.
Right there, that December, right where your hand is, that was a penny and a half to 2 pennies live on stream. We got like a 50% pump live on stream, and then it dumped for the next like 3 months to penny and a half. So it was like, I mean, it sucked, but it was like, it was cool to watch.
It was slow.
It was one green candle and then just slow red. And you're just like, dude, how long is this
feather,
and
bro.
then it happened until March.
That's
yeah. Well, you know, history rhyming, right? Yeah. Like it was New Year's, but it was, I mean, this New Year's, it was the day before, so it wasn't history repeating, it was rhyming.
Right. Yeah.
35 or 36 down to 20 or 19 or whatever.
The thing I have about this last pump is we pumped to 56. When we pumped to 56 cents, dude, I had COVID the whole freaking time, and I was sick. I was sick, and I didn't even get to enjoy the pump. I didn't even get it the whole September. I was sick, dude, and it's just like, yeah, this is great. I can't do anything. I'm so sick.
Hexo gave the chart. COVID is what happened.
Yeah, it's just sick for a minute. Just sick for a little bit, guys.
Oh, crap.
So yeah, I mean, it's but I think that now with with the coin coming out, with Pulse Chain coming out, and it's right on the horizon. I mean, if you listen to Richard, it sounds like it's super close. You know, I don't know anything if anybody, but it sounds like he's got like 2
People
things
always
left to do
assume
on
you
it.
know
It's
everything
ready.
too, isn't it?
I know. They're like, Hexo, tell us what you know. It's like, what, you think Richard's gonna tell me? No way, dude.
Like I will fuck that up.
Yeah, I'll start telling RG3, and RG3 will spread it like wildfire. He'll let it accidentally. He's got loose lips, man. He's, pirate.
Oh my god,
loose lips.
his pirate ship.
He's sinking his
pirate
ship. He's sinking his pirate ship.
No, I love RG, but no, I mean he ain't gonna tell me. RG ain't get, or RH ain't gonna tell me anything.
Yeah, probably not.
But
yeah, but that was wild. Just with that PM like 1118 thing, just a hint of that. It went from
that was funny.
It went up to like I don't even know. It ran up pretty good, like 24 cents or some shit. It's just like people were just like itching for this shit.
I know, and I even had the X-Files music in the background, and I was like, PM Pulse Chain mainnet. They're like, oh my gosh, it's real. 1118.
He knows.
It's like, oh jeez. I didn't think that people would take it seriously, but here we are. They did.
Yeah. That's interesting to think though when we get real solid news. This boy is gonna run. There's just no doubt about it. Especially with all that sell pressure just removed. 550 million. Is that what we're at right now? It's insane.
Yeah. Is that what's on the liquidity? 550 or not liquidity, but
that's just what's been sacked.
Sell order. Oh, okay, yeah.
Might be up since last time I checked.
How much was Pulse Chain? How much was Pulse Chain for sacked Hex? It wasn't that much, I don't think. I was looking at it the other day, and I think it was like 100 or 200 million or something like that.
What was here? I'll check on that, Wills. I mean, it couldn't have been that much because.
What do you mean, Hexo?
For Pulse Chain,
Pulse itself.
Yeah, how much was sacked? How much Hex was sacked for that? For a Hex. What's that?
Compared to this sacrifice? Compared to that, the Pulse Chain sack.
Because there's 500.
I think it was like
million,
300.
So what is that? Like 1.2 billion.
Total right now, I think we're above 1.2 billion.
No,
or maybe we're just at there.
Pulse Chain. If you go to Pulse, what is it? Pulse X lead?
Pulse Chain?
It's pulsechain.xyz or pulselead.xyz. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm going to guess it was 300 million.
So it's crazy how little it was. Like Pulse Chain, I think is way people are going to be hyped about. I thought people would be way more hyped about Pulse Chain than Pulse X, but this might be like their second hurrah to get in. See, 670 million was only sacked.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
crazy.
I can't find. Oh, here we go. Hex.
That is crazy, right? Compared to what we have now.
Yeah, I mean, we got almost double. And we've still got a month left, so it's probably at least. I'm guessing it's going to at least double the Pulse sacrifice or Pulse X or the Pulse X sacrifice is going to double Pulse Chain. So crazy.
Yeah. Either way, it's a lot of stuff removed. And here's the other thing I was thinking, right? Like, because when the OA sacked and the Pulse sacrifice, Hex is up a lot since then. So there's a lot more to sacrifice.
Yeah, that is true. I didn't even think
almost double the bag that he sacrificed just in price of Hex alone, which is just bananas, dude. That's like 28 million or 28 billion.
And I think the craziest thing about this is all of the stable coins are going to get doubled. So if he has $600 million on both chains, what is he going to do with that? $500 million. And that's just for Pulse Chain and Pulse X. That's like $1 billion that he has to pump into. I don't know what he's going to do with it. No expectations, but wouldn't it be cool if he, bought something cool with it?
Yeah, something real cool, right?
Or set up some pairs. Set up the best pairs on, the floor. Right. Set the floor pair. That's what I've been talking about. Is like, ooh, he could easily, or we don't know who it is. It could be a she, right? DOA, we have no idea. Could set
autonomous
that floor,
AI
that pair floor. Yeah. Ooh, it's good. Fun to speculate.
Yeah. We're going to Wolfram Alpha doing some math.
Let's see what we get.
Yeah, I can't find the actual sacrifice address because I can't connect my MetaMask.
Oh, I can
That's
find
one.
it. Hold on.
Oh yeah, I can get it for you. I have it.
Oh wow, it was that much was sacrificed. 670 million for Pulse Chain.
For Pulse,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, I didn't think it was that much.
Well, that was just that's with USDC and all of those.
40% more has been sacked.
Jeez. Just right now, it's still got a month.
Yep.
So it looks like in here, I don't know if any hex has been moved out of the sack address, but I don't think it has because Richard's pretty adamant about saying it's not moved at all. But only 113 million hex was sacrificed.
Yeah, I remember
to
that.
the sack address. So there's almost what, 1 billion hex on the Pulse X sacrifice.
Oh, we're gonna get another special guest.
Oh, I'm
Outstanding.
guessing it's funding Jim.
Yes, sir. How'd you know?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
How the fuck you know, man?
I am good.
But
But it's pretty crazy. We got almost 10 times as much hex in this sacrifice as we did in the Pulse Chain one.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Is that with Binance Chain or something? I remember something to do with different chains aren't counted or something.
Oh, this is just Ethereum. This ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Ethereum. Yep.
Yeah, so there's other chains.
This
that
isn't
aren't
even the
added
other
to it.
ones. Yeah, I don't even know or care, to be honest. So it's all good.
Yep. And I think I originally thought that Pulse X would not beat Pulse, but now I'm realizing that people are wanting to.
Oh
anchor on
yeah,
Pulse,
I
right?
called that one from day one. I mean, the demand for Pulse Chain and the fact that so many people missed it made it obvious.
Right. And Richard says it all the time, right? The best metric for the coin's potential is the amount of people that have heard about it and the amount of people who haven't heard about it, right? That's like really the best potential. And I think what we're seeing in the Pulse X sacrifice is basically we've doubled the amount of people's interest in Pulse in just the last 4 or 5 months, which just means what's going to happen in 4 or 5 months from now. It's good, man.
40% more already.
What's funding, Jim?
What's
Hey,
up,
Gary.
guys?
What's going on, Gary?
Man, we are so close to viral. It's ridiculous.
Isn't
you
it?
guys, you probably already commented on it, but did you see the metrics on the record long broke Twitter pod?
Yeah, we talked about it already, actually.
27,000 people, I think.
Yeah,
Yep, it was 27.6 thousand people.
And a
and
lot
it
of
was all
blue.
kinds of people.
A lot of blue check marks.
It was influencers outside of anything to do with crypto. I mean, we're getting hit up pretty good on
Gold medalists.
Curiosity factor, you know.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Good
I think
idea.
we should it constantly. Like we're setting up where we can rotate the host and the co-host because he did a record thing trying to stay awake for 60 hours or something like that. You know.
Yeah, he pulled it off. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that was something else, man. I mean, and it was good conversation according to what everybody's been saying. So,
and Richard Hart popped in how many times? Like
a few.
It's amazing. That alone is just like it's so heartwarming to know like the creator of the project is just like right there. Like it's just amazing.
I recorded the Richard sessions and I just haven't had time to upload them, but everyone will see. He's got every time he's on, you know, a lot of people get upset that he just does like unboxing videos or something like that, but when he's in his mode and he's dropping these little
people don't
nuggets,
get it, huh?
Old man, it's amazing all the stuff that he thinks ahead of about, you know.
Yeah.
And people got to understand the strategy. And thank you for the super chat, B-Doobie 100. Appreciate the €100, brother. People got to understand. Like, I know when he first started doing it, it used to irk the shit out of me because I am nothing like that. And he isn't either. Like, we've been watching Richard Hart for years, most of us. And we know that that gentleman is not like that. So clearly, it was done strategically. And guess what? It fucking worked. It worked. It worked.
And every time, I think he's just crystal clear to be like, hey, don't be stupid. Don't buy this stuff. Like, you say this constantly. Like, don't, like, this watch, not worth it. Don't buy it. Like, I'm doing this for a reason. Like, don't be stupid.
Like, I can do this. You cannot.
Yeah, exactly. And then he whips out the bonnet and just creates the world's greatest meme. You know? It's like,
yeah, man.
Going on, man.
And then he turns it around. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be good.
It's very Spaceballs. Very Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I
Spaceballs,
love that
dude.
movie.
Those-
I
We
have
just
it on
need the
DVD.
next one. Just needs to be like Richard in the bonnet with just like the world, with just a thing that says like world's worst rug puller. It's like or like world's biggest
Oh
scammer.
yeah,
It's like this guy is the world's biggest scammer.
this
Just
guy,
the friendliest
guy
guy out
with
there,
the
just
bonnet
loves making
on,
meme
the
content
evil
for
bonnet wearer.
Yeah, Lord Helmet.
So there was 2.1 billion hex that was sacrificed for Pulse X, which is crazy because Pulse Chain there's only on here 113 million for Pulse Chain. For Pulse X, there's 2.1 billion.
How
Dang.
that's adding all the other chains?
Well, the other chains don't really have hex on them, right?
He's just saying
Nah,
Hex.
He's just saying.
Yeah,
Hex.
I'm just saying. I want to see how
I'm
much
thinking
hex
Hex
is
is
dollar
taken
Hex,
off
amount.
not
the market.
USD. Yeah, not USD.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hold on, let me
I
pull
just
up
want to see
the
how much hex is
address.
taken off the market
on
completely.
Ether.
So that's two.
Oh, we can go to GRAPHHEX, bro. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, look at that. I'm just on the Ether scan. I could send it to you. Will.
So, what is the consensus about? I hear people saying that they think it's going to be the same as Pulse Chain, last minute 90% single entity, swoop. Is that what the consensus is? And just throw out the idea of it actually having a DAO.
I
I
would
don't
not
know
be
why the DAO
surprised.
wouldn't be controlled by somebody though. If you look
Well,
at
isn't the
every
idea
other
of a
DAO
DAO
in cryptocurrency,
decentralized?
yeah,
Isn't that
but
the
if you
concept?
look at all the other cryptocurrencies, they're not. If you look at Binance, or not Binance, but Uni, 99% of all the tokens are owned by like the top 10 people. So it's like,
Are they? And that's the DAO. That's the same qualifier to be DAO. There is volume of how much you have in a proof of stake.
yeah, for Uni. I know that there's a couple other ones, but I mean, for the DAO, he's gonna want to control who's gonna get the incentive token, don't you think? Like, I don't think that he's just gonna let that just be like, oh yeah, let the guy with the highest amount, and maybe he's like a Link guy, control that, and it's always gonna be Link, or it's always gonna be Sheeb or whatever, all these other garbage coins. I don't think
Well,
he's gonna let that
when you
happen.
look at the volume of who sacrificed, it's majority, if not at least half point or whatever it is, that's Hex that's been sacrificed. And you would think that if people are going to sacrifice Hex, they probably had Hex. I doubt that they bought $500 million worth of Hex, to do this sacrifice, right? So those are long hands that are coming out of whether they were unstaked or they were just ready to be liquid and put in. That's still a mentality to have that kind of volume. That's one thing. The other thing is, yes, of course, Link, Sheeb and things like that. Some of those contributed, and they were like 1 million, 2 million, small volume, really, as far as the rest of the Ethereum chain.
Right.
Bitcoin people, 15 million, Cardano. What I'm saying is there value of this quote unquote incentive token or this DAO position because you effectively hold volume to make decisions about the Pulse X buy and burn feature. Now, recently he has said he couldn't automate it or the sandwich attack vector, and that it wouldn't be something that would, just somebody randomly could do a public call function. So since that's changing, I don't know that the dynamics are changing, because he's still always going to say you can have no expectation of the work of others, which means wink, wink, nod, nod, somebody's going to have to be an admin and hit the button. And so the question is, does that narrative of a DAO even mean anything? Is it just a token, meme to hold the, is it just a meme to hold something, just like everything else is a meme to hold something?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't
because
see that he's gonna
basically
not
the voting
take
rights
control.
are gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's like saying you are in a parliament, but off with your head because I'm still the king. Right? Do you have consensus and do you have decentralization? And I'm not fudding. I'm saying I love what the OA always has done. OA has always protected and been balanced
I get
about
what you mean,
going
though.
on the right path.
It's kind of just like that's how the map's gonna shake out, type of thing.
Yeah.
I love your feet. I love your feet up.
Yeah, this is the bunny.
I didn't even notice that.
Cover girl.
Hold on.
It's like you're a
We
little
need to
high
get-
school girl on the
You
bed.
gotta
With
put
the
this
feet.
gym on a solo.
Absolutely.
Here. Hold on.
Talking to girlfriend talking to her boyfriend.
Alright.
The Bugs Bunny ass up meme.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I just don't see it's like anything else. I don't see Richard just giving up control like that, or
Right.
the OA. I just see that they're gonna do what's in our best interest, and it's gonna get flooded to where it's like, oh, he controls 99%, 90% or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's all gonna work out for us, and I think that anybody that's using it. So it's like,
Whatever.
Yeah.
it's probably not ideal for people that don't have the thing, but when you're, or if you hold PulseX, I'm guessing it's probably going to help you out. But if you're wanting your token, that is a garbage token to get number one, you're probably not going to be able to do it. I mean, somebody else is going to be able to do it, right? If somebody else owns 50% of the tokens because the OA doesn't sacrifice, they're going to be able to control it. Somebody's going to be able to control
Somebody's
the
gonna
most.
control it.
Somebody's going to be the whale and be able to manipulate to what they want. I'd rather have somebody that's looking out for the best of the entire community and like, hey, this coin is kind of pumping right now. Let's put a little bit more into this one. Like let's vote for this one. And I think that's what, because I think he's going to use it as a marketing kind of thing. But I might be wrong.
Yeah.
So one thing we've learned about Richard over the years is, one, he tells his biography of living in a hotel for 5 years, effectively playing this video game, this long game strategy, having, one of the few people that ever spends man years effectively to look at a long game. And then, it's hard not to think that Hex, was thought about, conceived for, a year before it ever really came to market as a launch. And then I remember in 2019 him saying, if Ethereum ever is hostile, then we'll drop the system state onto a different blockchain. And then that concept said, well, we'll just launch our own blockchain if everything is hostile. I remember those conversations.
I do too. Yeah.
And so when you look at the long game of this, and we keep thinking about, okay, what's the OA going to do in 60 days? What's the narrative in 1 year? What's the T-share? We keep trying to be long-term thinking. Probably a year after Richard's already thought about it, and written it down and schemed it out. I mean, has a diagram about how things are likely to play out. So it's hard for me not to think at this point of experience with Richard to say, Hex was a stepping stone. Pulse chain was the objective. A DEX, once Uniswap came onto the scene 2 years ago, that, all of that volume and watching what happened play out with Uniswap and the vampire attacks of Sushi and Pancake and things like that, this thing has been ruminated and thought about for a long time before it ever got put into code. So I'm happy with the OA, whoever coming in and having 90% of the control of everything on PulseX, because he's been far longer game mentality. At least the OA or African Priest or whoever it is doing good stuff for the community, no matter what plays out.
Yeah, I've heard that's the biggest concern for like big YouTube people is something to do with the OA, that because they have such a centralized thing, they can't promote it. But of course, that's just one of their make-believe FUD things. So having a true understanding of what the OA does by, putting your trust in it and seeing, time and time again, he keeps doing, or it keeps doing, she keeps doing exactly what benefits the system the most. Right. Just time and time again.
Well, it sucks because that's what crypto devolved into. The concept 10 years ago, 11 years ago was a noble concept. The people that were doing the Bitcoin Jesus narrative and trying to spread this idea of peer-to-peer cash and all the stuff that Bitcoin went through 2008, 9, 10, all that stuff. That's kind of the origin, right? And then, of course, human psychology and figuring out the short game and, how to fuck somebody over through influence or whatever really corrupted a lot of that. In 2017 was the blow off top of a lot of that, 17 into 18. And so, in some ways I'm like, man, why are the influencers the way that they are? Why are the ones that have the biggest audience, basically saying, I'm going to get mine before I'm going to get you before you get me, kind of competition and, rug pullers and all that stuff like that. I hate all that stuff. That's really what it devolved to. And I think that actually Richard has noble intent, and I think that Richard has shown that trend over significant length of time in this community building, and now it is kind of like getting them to break their habit and say, hey, look, you don't have to behave like a beaten stepchild. This actually, there are people that care about you in crypto. Like let this thing play out where there's actual sense of community or sense of good parenting. Look at all the stuff that we've had politically and all the stuff that we've had cultural division, and us versus them ism has been the normal for the past like 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And in all societies and micro societies. And I think it's really amazing to be part of this community because it really does have metal. It's an amazing group that we put together.
Yeah, speaking of community, I just want to shout out my wife with the 99-cent super sticker back there. Love you, baby. We keep it real out here.
Awesome. Super sticker kicking ass.
That's awesome. Yeah, but I hear what you're saying, Gary. You're saying like, what's the narrative? If the narrative is the DAO, and yet the DAO is controlled by one entity, is it really a DAO? So why go through the role of even announcing that it's a DAO when it's not even really going to be a DAO technically, and just the ops on that? Like, what's the point? And that's a great question, man. That's not even something I've thought of. We assume that the OA is going to sacrifice though, so I don't see that changing. So it's a great question, man. It's a good question to ask. I think at the end of the day is like what Hexo's saying, is just important that someone's going to control those pairs, and I'd rather it be us or AKA the OA, because they're going to act the same way we would anyway, I think. So,
well, I mean, Wales can speak to this. So you don't bet against the Fed put. Right. When someone has endless money and you don't bet against it. And so when you think that you have a free market in the COMEX, you don't, because you have the plunge protection team that can change any of the numbers because you have endless money. So in some ways, I'm like, okay, is this a better, more benefactor kind of entity? And the trend has always been that. I've always been happy with what the OA has done. So I'm just curious about how we like frame this when we are broadcasting to new eyes and new ears. When we are engaging new people, they don't really have all of this history. A lot of the no coiner has this PTSD. Everybody in crypto has PTSD. Yeah. So when you're speaking to them, they don't really care about the OA thing, dude. I mean, we had a guy that put in $250,000 over the past 60 days, and he didn't even know what the OA meant. He had no clue what any of that stuff was. He's like, yeah, this looks good. And he just chucked in 140 grand in PulseX and 110 grand in HEX. He's like, yes, looks good. Let's go. So, the no coiner doesn't care. The crypto PTSD influencer, personality, I just don't like to approach anymore.
I totally agree, man. Like, yeah, I'm putting together a coaching network that's specifically designed around onboarding no coiners, because I think that just is the best market. Because if you could open them, like the first door that those people get into is like a healthy system like Hex, then they don't have to go through the burn, right? And unfortunately what we have is we have so many people in this network of just the crypto space that have that burn. I compare it to, like, I used to train people to make coffee, and what I'd always rather do is I'd much rather train someone with no coffee experience than some coffee experience, because the people with coffee experience, you have to untrain them through their bad habits, right? Instead of just teaching them from the start the good habits. So where I'm at, brother, 100% is like no coiners, because exactly like you said, like they don't care about the OA. But as they learn about the OA, they're going to ask you, well, what's the deal with the OA? And you're like, oh, great, I have the answer for you. This is why it's good. This is why it's awesome. This is what he or she has done over the last year, 2 years to prove that it's a good thing for the system. And there you go. There's the information you need. So those no.
A lot of the guys that are in the crypto community currently are traders. They have the trader mentality because they've been promoted that they can make $1 million off of $1,000 in freaking 2 days. Like that's what these influencers have told them, and they just need to leverage it 100 to 1 on these, Bybits or whatever these freaking platforms are, and then they get wrecked. And then they do that a few times, they get wrecked, and then they think that all crypto is a scam, which I tend to agree with them on a lot of the on that. I would guess that 99% of them, maybe not scams, but just bad ideas.
Hey, Hexo, can I ask you a quick question? Have you heard anything about Hedron?
No, I haven't heard of any of it. I know that it's out. I know of it. I just haven't heard. Like I haven't looked at it at all.
Yeah, that's just. I mean, that's hitting the Hexagon front pretty hard. I mean, you got liquid loans. You've got a bunch of people. Now we got an energy company. There's a lot of people targeting hexagons because we're getting, more and more financially stable as the years progress here. And we're going to be the ones making decisions as to, what programs are really going to be taken off. So
what I get frustrated over is the brand bleed of this is a hexagon, and because they're a hexagon, then their code is qualified to be launched on top of Hex. I'm getting burned over that. The LL thing, I don't have plus or minus about it, but it's been shoved down everybody's throat about it's hexagon, but it's not audited code. It hasn't had, and again, they're going to come after me because I said even that part. But I don't see that playing out the same way in Ethereum, and Ethereum has billions and billions of dollars of liquidity, and it's the same code supposedly, right? So I'm just cautious. And then the same thing is happening with the Hedron stuff. Is I'm hearing it 10,000 times a day by everybody that's talking positively about how it's required inside of the ecosystem. If you're hexagon, you're hexagon to me. I'm maybe that's a little bit too tribal, a little bit too maxi, but I'm like, hey, I care about the bags of the trend and of the community more than the new adoption on top of the Hex brand, right?
Well, I think that you and I, Gary, have seen it to where we saw the Hexy play out. We saw these other coins that got played, and they got shield the hexagons because, I'm a hexagon, so I can make you guys something that you want, because they all came at us and said, we're hexagons, we wanted to help out hexagons. And then guess what? They rug pull their thing, they take all the hex money, and then you see all of the money that they received, all of the hex that they received, they're dumping it onto the market, crashing the hex price. And then you're just watching it like, I thought you guys were, and like, obviously a few of us, most of us, some of us knew what was going on, but there was others that were promoting it and they didn't understand. And then they got rug pulled once and they were like, okay. And then guess what? The guys come back the second time and go, hey, we want to, we want to make things right. We're going to promote. And then they rug pull again. So it's a reloading scheme. They did it, I think 3 or 4 times. Before people finally got the hint of like, these guys are actually scumbags and they're gonna take it. And I'm not saying that these guys, the Hedron guys or the liquid loan guys, are doing any of that, but I think the hexagons have been burned so much. And like Richard says that he's not going to promote anything. You need to bring your own audience, because that's what's gonna, it's ultimately it's competing, right? Because you're going to either put your money into something, and I know the liquid loan says that you don't have to sell and all this, but ultimately it comes down to you're going to buy something else. You're going to buy the liquid loans token instead of Hex. And so it is somewhat competing, because we saw this with Hexy. Somebody bought Hexy instead of Hex. And guess what? That person that has Hexy now that bought all that and said that Hex was going to zero and Hexy was going to be the new one. Well, they don't have any more money. They lost it all on investing in another coin. And so for me, it's not about, like being a maximalist or anything else. It's more about being like, I know what works, and I'm going to promote what works right now. And if it turns out, hey, this thing does really a good job, then I'll be like, hey, yeah, it did good. Like, I'm not saying you can't get it, don't put your money into it. I'm just not going to promote it. But everybody wants, like, the influencers, the guys talking about it, they want us to be promoting their stuff. And it's like, it's not that I'm a maximalist. I just don't want to promote anything else that I don't know the founder. I've never watched a live stream. I don't know any of this stuff. I know Richard. I've talked with Richard. I've had, conversations. I'll promote pretty much anything that he comes out with at this point, because I've watched so much of him and I know his intelligence, and I can see that he can put that into a coin, and he has something to back up with it with Hex at this point.
Well,
So with liquid
listen,
loans and that stuff, I just don't want to even like I don't even want to have the brain power in it because I've already made the money that I needed to on Hex. And so it's like, what do I want to do? Promote the thing that I know is going to work, or the thing that may work and may make people money, but so will Hex. That's
Yeah.
what
Well,
that's
the respect element of it is Richard launched something with there was nobody, right? He started a Telegram room, and then there were some people coalescing around the idea, and his narrative and his conversation and his engagement and his being up 24 hours a day to answer questions, to swat away the mosquitoes, all of the stuff that he basically did to groom the core of the beginning of the community, right? That's investment of thousands of man hours that was put in by Richard. And then the community, just stepped up and said, okay, there's 10 of us, 20 of us, 50 of us, 100 of us, thousands of us, hundreds of thousands of us, right? As far as Hexagon's growth, this adoption thing. And what I get frustrated over is the brand theft. The brand theft is, yeah, you're Hexagon because you were in 2 years ago and you bought a product and the product went up well. And now I don't see you on screen until there's something to sell to other Hexagons. Right. And that's frustrating about the economic energy. So even today, I saw some of the stream with the Australians and Steph. Steph had a guest spot with the Australians, with OG and so forth. And again, it came out with the Hedron stuff. And Steph was, I could just see him being socially calibrated and, kind of swatting it away early on, but then he got pressed and he kept getting pressed over it. And he said the same thing. He says, show me the models, show me you model it out, show me what happens with 10,000 people, show me that you've already done all that stuff. And most of the guys are just coming up with a good idea, just like the Hexy thing. This is a good idea. Now, I will say the LL has a lot more of this stuff mapped out and so forth, but I don't see that it's, hundreds of millions or billions of dollars of Ethereum that worked on liquidity and went that path. And even if it plays out on a different blockchain, why would it be different? So I'm just pissed off and frustrated when the brand of quote unquote Hexagon is thrown around so loosely, because that was really hard work that people like Hexo put in. Thousands of man hours got put into this thing. So I protect the brand.
What do you think, Marcavelli? What do you think about it?
Yeah, well, this question is just so big, because there's so much information I don't have. I'm not a dev or anything like that. So it's hard to ask the questions to the people that, for sure it's like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. This is the way it is. It's like, I got my favorites up here, so I'm asking you guys.
Oh yeah. No, dude, I like hearing everybody. It's like, it's kind of, for me, it's going to have to be out for a while. It's not going to be one of those things because I don't know anybody in it. I don't, I know some of the guys, but a lot of the guys are brand new, and I'm like, who's this guy? This guy's promoting it, and I don't know who it is, which is fine. I think that it's awesome that we have new people, but until it proves itself for me, like I've never watched a 6-hour stream of the guy leading liquid loans or Hedron, and so I don't plan onto it because it's like, I've got Richard streams to watch at this point, and maybe I will, but it's not like I just am not promoting it. It's not that I have anything. I have no problem with any of it. I think that people building is awesome, and build whatever you want, but I'm just not going to be promoting it. And people get mad at me because I'm not promoting it. It's just like, I'm only going to promote Richard products, dude. Everybody,
I got to talk to Alex in the spaces for a second, and I was just like, I have no idea who you are. Like, he said he's a Hexagon or whatever. I'm like, I've been here. Who are you? Like, what do you mean? But I mean, but the thing is, like, it was like you can get another airdrop. You can get, it's read only. There's no risk. It could be this, it could be that. It's like, I need a catalog of like trustworthy devs, because, Richard can't just look everything up for you. He's got people working for him. So it's like, not everyone that works for him is out in the open saying, oh yeah, don't buy Hedron, you moron. Like, there could be that person that could just explain it like, oh yeah, I'm, a dev of Richard. I know if you do this, for sure, it's going to ruin the ecosystem of Hex. Like, this takes this point of this game theory, you do this, you loop it around the fucking corner here, and you fuck everything up.
Well,
I
think
don't have
If
that
you're talking
answer.
about the encapsulated
but it's
stakes, it's going to happen. Like that's going to happen, and I think that Firebun even has possibly put it in. So I don't think that like if something can be built that will ruin Hex, like that thing will be built, right? Like somebody is going to come out to be either malicious or to actually do it on or like to help out, and then it does ruin Hex. I don't think that that's going to be the case because not a lot of people are going to even use it. Like when I heard encapsulated stakes, it's like first you have to stake your hex on the layer 2 of that, so you have to actually stake it on their platform. So if let's say that, I don't know if STAKER.APP or Firebun came out with this thing, you would have to take all of your hex out and then stake it on there. So most of the hex that's been staked out for 15 years is already been staked out, right? So it's not the pre
Yeah, so with
we
Hedron, like you said,
yeah.
if it's an existing one, then you can do a claim of your existing stakes, but they are promoting that you have this HSI thing or whatever, which is you are staking inside of their container or jar that is a
Right.
new smart contract that it's holding. And again, when it comes to code, when it comes to execution, when it comes to admin keys, I'm not aware about. I'm not going to invest, years of my life to become a developer. I'm actually trusting, and it seems like you shouldn't trust, but I'm trusting people like Firebun,
Yeah.
Steph, people like Richard, this hyper awareness of what a semicolon versus a colon means in code. I don't know. I don't really know.
That same idea and philosophy goes towards, law and like taxes. And then,
Right.
there's a million different things. You need specialized people that you can trust. And it's just like, we need to create that roster of people that we can all trustedly go to and then have a filtration. Like what I'm doing is like, I'm disseminating information. I'm building my own trademark where people can come to me for certain information on certain topics. I'm, same with Hexo, same with Gary, same with Whale, same with Diamond Dad. You can go to these people, push the avatar, NFT, blah, blah, blah. I need to know this about this. I can go here, push a fucking button. Like, I don't want to become all these people. I don't want to become a lawyer. I don't want to become a tax professionalist. I don't want to become a dev. I don't want to become Richard Hart. I want to go about my life without having to spend all of my time, which is, staking.
Well, there'll be those
a
guys out there.
system.
That's a
Let me
Yeah.
give you guys a shortcut, because this is the answer to this long drawn out conversation that's not going anywhere. The fact of the matter is that Richard Hart has a track record, right? He's shown himself through his work. Everybody else must do the same. I did
Yep.
it. Hexo did it. Diamond Dad is doing it. Funny Jim did it. So why is it so hard for these guys to have to do it? It shouldn't have to be a question. Everybody must put in the motherfucking work if you want to be recognized. It's that simple. Nobody's getting
I
a fucking
agree.
free ride here just because you own Hex for a fucking year and nobody knows who you are.
Yeah. And a lot of them are coming on stream. So I'll give them that. If you see a guy coming out and, but if it's like, I want to see the guy that's founding it, the guy that actually you can tie a name to it and say, that guy is the guy founding it, and I think, and if he's on streams, he's coming to talk to everybody. This is it. Because if you remember Hexy, the founder never came forward.
I
It
wasn't
was
around
always
for
his.
that.
It was his like
Michael the
lackey,
Painter.
dude. Yeah, Michael the Painter. He had a guy that was a Hexagon. He was a legit Hexagon because I talked to him for a year before Hex even came out, and he was a really nice guy. And he was like, he had some problems, like he was sick and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And they just what they did is manipulated him to be the front guy for their project.
Oh,
And then so he was like, oh yeah, Hexy is such a great project, and they had all these people. And then the founder never showed his face.
right.
So it was like you never got to see the actual guy that you could point a finger at and be like, that guy rug pulled us. That is and that's what I
Because
that's
that
what I
was the
wanna see.
intention probably from the jump.
Oh yeah, yes. Right, because RG3 had them on the first time, and 5 minutes before we got on the stream, I was like, before we were going to talk to these guys, the Hexy guys, RG3 was like, yeah, he's the founder. I forgot what his name was. Is not going to be. He's going to go without a camera, and the Michael the Painter was going to go without a camera. And I was like, no, dude, if you're proud of something and you make something, you put your face on it. You say, this is mine. This is what I built. You don't say, oh yeah, let this other
Right.
guy do this. It's like, no, that's not how the real world works. Like this is
Right. You're not selling
you put your
something
face
to nobody and nobody knows who you are.
right. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, and people come in with avatars, like that's like you can have an avatar if you're promoting it, like how we are, like that's. But a founder being an avatar or being like, these faceless guys, I just think I think it's hilarious because in the real world that would never fly. You would never put your money and be somebody sets you up with freaking dude Hickey 69 420 wants to sell you a house and you got to give him $150,000 for it, and you're just like, yeah, okay, buddy, you'd never do it. You'd be an idiot. But guess what? Crypto, like, there's just those morons who are like, oh my gosh, this thing's going to the moon. He's built us something great. It's like, sure, dude, sure. Like you're a moron.
That's one of the reasons that I protect the brand of Hexagon so much, is because you put in the work and you see this new crop of people that are putting content out there generate. I mean, these young women that have been putting out stuff, they've got like 200 followers or whatever, and then they shoot up to thousands or whatever, and they're doing amazing content, really good content. And I respect that. I mean, like Hexo was saying, I can't really do business. I can be neighbors with someone without necessarily knowing much about them or whatever. But if I'm going to do business with someone, I'm going to be like, yeah, I gotta see your face, dude. I gotta have those expressions. I gotta know what is your hot button and what are you tranquil and peaceful about. I gotta know that stuff.
Right.
And so when they do this avatar stuff and they're builders and they're soliciting money sacrifice stuff, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? No, I'm not doing that.
So James Harbaugh said Whale's only trying to sell tax and asset management services without showing his face. Well, guess what? There's 2 people on this stream that are in it with him that are showing our faces.
Yeah.
And we're not even the ones trying to, like, you can.
Yeah, we're not doing
You
the
can
work.
go to the company. We're not doing the work.
We're not doing
We're just
anything.
helping you get into it, man.
And they've met with
if you don't
whales.
want to do it, go ahead. Just take off. We don't need you to do it. Like, we're
Like,
I know Whales. I mean, there's different reasons people are out there, and he's not building. He is part of the same clientele. We're clients the same way.
Yep.
We just
not only do we build the firm, the business, but we're clients of the business. So
yeah.
It's kind of
we pay money when we want to do
Let
something.
them in, man. We're doing that.
We have to pay money.
I'm the owner.
Yeah.
And also,
It's
yeah,
like
just
if
to
we
be-
want a lawyer, we have to pay the money to get that lawyer. Like, we had to pay for all of
Correct.
the startup fees and everything else.
Yeah, it wasn't free.
yeah, and
Still
people,
not
there's no
free.
FUD going on in these other. Like, Hexo's being very clear that he says he doesn't know where he stands. Okay, he's not saying he hates it. He's not saying it sucks. He's not saying don't go to it. Look, if you come to these streams, you come to Hexagon streams, and you want us to say yes, do that, and no, don't do that, like, you're just in the wrong place,
Yeah,
right?
that's not what's
Hexagons are
gonna happen.
educators. Okay,
Yeah.
what we want to do with our streams is help equip you guys with the tools to make your own decisions. Okay,
Right.
if you like Hedron, awesome. What he's saying is make sure you look into the contract, and all he's saying is he hasn't. So he's not going to sit here and say, yeah, go do Hedron, because he doesn't know. Like, I've done a lot of research on it. I've done a lot of research on liquid loans, and I'm happy to have these conversations, but I'm not going to have it on this stream because that's not what it's for. Right. So what's important to understand is there's no FUD going on here. All that's going on here is saying, look, do your own research, read the white paper, and if you like it, great. Do your own research, though. Okay, so that's just the important thing to take away. And also, it might be great. Hexo's being clear to say he doesn't know if it's great, which I respect for him
Right.
to do. Okay.
How can any of us know?
I mean, that's the thing, is when you say those things, you automatically get attacked by these 2 communities that you are fudding it, and it's just like, I'm not fudding it. I literally have no idea, and I just don't want to talk about it because I don't know enough. And that's how it should be. If I don't know enough about something, you shouldn't want me to just give my opinion, because I'll just be like, no, don't do it. You're an idiot. It's just like Bitcoin maxis, and that's why they don't deal with any of, like, that's why they call everything a scam. It's because they don't know enough about it. And so it's like, either I could call it a scam and just be like, no, that's a scam. These things are a scam. Or I could just be like, hey, I don't know enough about it. If that's what you want to go do, if you've done the research, dude, get into it. Do whatever you want. I honestly have no opinion on it whatsoever. I hope Hex goes up. That's all I care about.
Yeah, number go up. That's what we're in.
Yeah. If Hex goes up and it can have a symbiotic relationship, dude, I'm freaking all for it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah,
Well, it looks like you're pulling something up here, brother. Not to do a hard left here, but it looks like you maybe had something to talk about on screen there.
Yeah, so there was a question earlier asking if we thought that Pulse Chain could actually handle all the transactions that could potentially that Ethereum is handling basically, right?
I think
And if we look at Ethereum over the past 14 days, it's done only 1.4 million transactions. We've already done 30% of that since Testnet 2 came online, which was the other day.
Hmm.
So,
All
and
right.
this
Well,
is
I gotta go, guys. It was great meeting
no
you,
worries,
Diamond
brother.
Dad.
Later,
Mark
homie.
Belli, it was great to see you on stream, bro. Finally,
we out here, bro.
well, I've seen you on stream before, but good face to face.
Yeah, thank you. Stop by my streams.
Yeah, no problem, man. Gary, take care, bro. Wales only. Thanks for having me, bro.
Of course, brother. Thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, later.
Take it easy.
Peace.
Yeah, I mean the new infrastructure for building things on blockchain is just Pulse. Like
Right.
that's where it's at. If that's your guys' question, can it handle it right now?
Yeah.
The question whether or not can or cannot it handle it, the answer is it's the best version of a blockchain that exists. So if something can handle it, Pulse can. That's just the way it is. So, and luckily it comes with system state is what is the number one thing that's separating it from all these other ghost chains. System state is key.
Right.
And Richard with his infinite wisdom.
Right. I mean I mean, imagine, right? It's one thing to create a blockchain. It's another thing to just replicate one, because what you're doing is all you're saying is, all right, here we have this one thing that's pretty good, but maybe we can make it better. So let's take it, put it over here, chop it up a little bit, change some things, add some things, and boom, new thing, new name.
Yep.
New everything, right? So that's basically where we're at right now. So hard to be mad at that. I think anyway.
So what do you think about? So 22% of all gas in Ethereum is NFTs. I want to go into what is an NFT, but I'm saying that something on
22%.
Ethereum work. 22% of all
Okay,
gas.
I didn't know that. I was actually wondering that earlier.
It's and maybe it's because it's the inefficiency of it being minting and all these other things
Right.
versus other things that are tokens and ERC transfers and such. But 22% can't be ignored. And so I have Jalon, who is athlete, boxer.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him. Shout
from
out to
Twitter
him
and
if he's
stuff.
watching.
I've been talking to Richard about getting a stream with the athletes and with also the NFT people and asking Richard to be nicer about
Oh, boy.
NFTs. But it is because 22% of Ethereum volume is NFT. And what do you want to happen on Pulse Chain? Do you want 22% of volume to be NFTs in Pulse Chain?
I mean, they could just use it. I mean, it's a
I
free
mean, I kind
country.
of do.
It's a free market. They can do whatever they want. Nobody's gonna stop them from using it.
Well,
No,
I mean,
I'm
it
not
pumps our bags, is what he's
I'm
saying, right? He's
saying-
saying it pumps our
I
bags.
get it, but it's whatever.
Yeah, I'm saying demand pushes price.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah.
And it's a huge market, NFTs. I mean, that seems like be
Well, that's what
mostly
they're
everything.
pushing right now, right?
Yeah.
That's what people think crypto is, even though it's not. So that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, obviously, most of us Hexkins we like to listen to Richard, and he also hates him. So, I mean, I just don't do the research to care,
Well,
But yeah,
look,
you're right. I'm looking at OpenSea right now, and just today, 19%. In the last 3 hours, $1 billion. Is that
So
math right? No, $1 million.
NFTs are really
was that.
simple. Check it out. NFTs are really simple. They're just receipts. That's all.
yeah, I don't want to get into what the topic is. I'm saying that if there's a marketplace and 20% of the sales comes from a particular product, you got to respect that product has demand. Whether you say they're foolish and these buyers shouldn't be doing it, and these sellers shouldn't be doing it.
No, that's their problem, man.
You're in the
That's
market.
not my issue. Yeah, that's their
Yeah.
problem.
Right.
But yes, we want them on Pulse because it's like, why wouldn't you just trade
I mean,
that
look,
NFT
it's
on
for their
Pulse?
benefit to come here.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. Nobody's gonna stop them. Nobody cares. Simple. It's a free market. They can use whatever chain they want, and it's perfectly fine. Nobody has to like JPEGs and whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, I was talking to some of the and listening to different NFT people saying, but some of them are, really passionate. Like some of them, if you're an artist and you're trying to make money, like this is a huge avenue for like,
Hmm.
and imagine how many millionaires people have been created through NFTs. So, there's people that are super excited about these things. And I mean, there's definitely a marketplace
Well,
and they're going to
Yeah,
be on
no, there's
Pulse
well,
Chain.
definitely
it's
a
being
They're
marketplace
not
offered.
going
for it.
away.
Yeah, there's
Jalon,
definitely a
Jalon,
marketplace for it. There's no
so
doubt about
Jalon
that.
is neighbors to Jake and Logan Paul in Puerto Rico, and he's the personal trainer boxer for them. And then I know that I've seen the video of Logan Paul and Jake Paul and Gary Vaynerchuk and Mr. Beast all talking about NFT, basically because Gary Vee said this is going to be the next big thing. And so, yes, they have popularized, influenced, and they have marketed and shielded what an NFT is to their audiences. Which Jake Paul has 20 million followers. Logan has 23 million followers. Mr. Beast is the biggest influencer in YouTube. I think it's 100 million followers, something like that. So those people have influence. Now they could say buy Zorbies or some other kind of crap or something else, and people would probably do that too, and it would make a very scarce product in a high demand environment, and price would change. So I'm not positive about NFT, the JPEG, but my parents weren't positive about me collecting comic books either. So it's a product, it's a market, it should be respected in some ways. And I think that if you're going to burn money on transactions on a overburdened network like Ethereum, burn less money on Pulse Chain.
I
Yeah.
agree 100%, Gary.
And Joe Rogan
Yep.
was asking about NFTs too. So, I mean, it's 2022, 2021. Like, that's a big topic. Like, it's just huge. And a lot of people
Yep.
don't know much about it.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, it is what it is.
Wales is like, I'm glad. A lot of people don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's a sad thing. You guys got to understand, right? The allure is the fast money. It's
Yeah,
not the utility. So that's the issue at hand for me.
it's the
Yep.
pet rock.
That's my
Yeah.
interest. That's
Yeah.
my interest at the utility because a lot of people talking about it passionately about the utility of it. Like there's so many different things. Like if you get this specific NFT, then you can go to, the club or whatever. You get this and this means this
Well,
for
here,
this. And there's so many.
so here's the thing. So 50 years ago, the golf club, the country club, pay 50 grand, pay 100 grand, live at the house where you shoot golf with other people that are influencers of other industries, right? That's what that was. Then there's the evolution of the mastermind, and that's what I'm part of. Honestly, I'm part of a mastermind, and it's replaced what a country club is. It's basically it's conversation about business, but you're doing something social. Often you get on a plane, you go travel somewhere with 30 or 40 other people. So that's kind of the country club that's mobile. And then now I see it's actively right now that if you want to go to certain parties in Los Angeles, you have to have 1 million TikTok followers or more. And they check. They're like, okay, you qualify, you can get in the door. Or you happen to be a guest and you want to go to the Oscars and maybe have some influence because you're in the movie industry. You have to have provenance, you have to have gravitas, you have to have those things. And they validate that stuff. What's your IMDb, right? Who has a Twitter blue check? Who has an Instagram verified? Richard now is verified on YouTube. I mean, those things still have weight in the social status evaluating kind of world. And if you're not seeing people face to face and seeing what they're dripping with as far as that what they wear, how pretty is the girl or guy that they're dating, if you're not qualifying that person and by their status in those ways, you're looking for digital reference. And at least in blockchain, there is this thing, not that anybody really goes and looks at the Twitter handle and then checks to verify that Logan Paul really has that ape picture or whatever, right? Not a lot of people are doing that, but somebody will, and somebody will call them out and say, that's a bunch of bullshit. That's not a real Rolex. That's not real. Like people will pull down stolen valor kind of stuff, right? It'll happen. So I kind of like it as a qualifier in this digital world because so many of us are locked inside of homes anyway, and we're living an alter ego life anyway. So I don't know. I've warmed to it over the past couple of weeks. Not that I'm going to go buy stuff. I did buy comic books. I did buy classic cars. I did buy a fancy house. I did that stuff for status, right? I did it. So this is just a new status symbol to me.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like as far as like a social token, it becomes the new social token, a currency, if you will. If that that's the only way it's really going to catch on, right? If it's not just going to be a fart in the wind, is if this stuff really starts to get value in the social class. Which is really interesting, which is a great point, Gary. I've never even thought about that. Not just like some cheap trading toy, but like something that actually represents social class. That's very, very interesting. That's a great point.
Well, my friend John, some people have met John. John's multi-billionaire, born into a billionaire family, and he became a billionaire of his own. He's in his 60s. He's launching soon, and he buys and sells insurance companies, founds all kinds of stuff all over the place. He's got 6 yachts. He's a very successful guy. He knows what the fuck he's doing. And still, he's launching a NFT platform very soon. It might be going live soon. He was going to wait for PulseChain to launch only on PulseChain, but he's just going to launch it on Ethereum because it's time to do it. And he has a lot of sway and influence in the quote unquote legacy art world. The people that have galleries, that they have an up and coming artist they want to promote, they put it on the wall in the gallery, and then it shows there for 2 or 3 weeks or months, and then it gets shipped off to another gallery, and hype cycle starts it there as well. And so you give value because people are paying admission, people are talking about it, there's buzz, there's all of the different flowery words describing what this artist is trying to communicate, and then there's this cerebral person trying to interpret what the fuck they meant on that canvas. What does it mean? I don't know. So anyways, that's been his world for like 30 years. And he's interested in NFT as far as here's a paywall, here's an entrance to a digital version of a museum, and you can see the very expensive NFT that's proven on the blockchain that somebody paid $6 million for this NFT, right? So there's a viewership thing. I used to do it with classic cars. I would go to the Concours d'Elegance, I go to Amelia Island, I look at the $13 million Duesenberg or something like that. I'm like, I never drive that car. That's stupid. Like, I don't like that car. But somebody does because they paid a crap load of money for it. So I still had this gawk factor. I still was like, wow, somebody paid a lot for that. And I do it in art museums. I go to art museums all the time, and especially modern art. I'm like, dude, I could do that in about 3 hours if I just had a big 10-foot wide canvas, because that doesn't seem like it took any talent. And then you know that the tag was $4 million for that piece of thing, right? So there's all kinds of foolish things that we buy. There's all kinds of motivations about why people do it. But often at the end of the day, it's a status symbol. You don't really care about the Mona Lisa. I guarantee you never cried a tear over the Mona Lisa. But a lot of people want to go to the Louvre and they want to stand in line and they're going to look at it and say,
a lot smaller than I thought it was.
You know?
That's what they'll probably say about it. It's teeny. Wow.
Yeah, it's tiny and it's got no eyebrows. She's tiny, she's got no eyebrows. What the fuck, you know? But you still do it, right? People do it. And so he talks about it in that light. He's like, people are still going to do these things as part of our human nature, to go look at this, you know, this big rock, or to go look at this stack of big rocks called the pyramids, or to go look at the, you know, the foolish thing that someone paid a bunch of money for. I just think that that's kind of what I'm relating the NFT to. It's a status symbol for some. It's a foolish purchase for others.
Peabody.
Yeah,
I do, bud.
I think I think NFTs, I mean, the blockchain, it's just an Excel spreadsheet. Like, people do all types of wild stuff with Excel spreadsheets. Like, I mean, I've taken a couple classes on it. It's like, and then how advanced is that going to be able to get? It's just, I mean, we're slowly interacting with, you know, the internet. The phone's eventually just going to be, you know, you're going to blink twice and say yes or whatever. Like,
so if I sat down and I drew a piece of art and I have terrible Photoshop, let's say it's Hexo. Hexo's got pretty good Photoshop skills. So say that he made an image, right? And he made that image, and then he sold it to me, and I paid $1 for it, right? I've paid Hexo $5 before to make a thumbnail for me. So I paid $1 for it, right? So now I have it. It's on the blockchain. It transferred from him. It transferred to me. It comes to my wallet. Now I have this picture, right? This thing that he made. You come along, you see the picture, and you say, I say, hey, I've got this picture for sale. I'm offering it for $1.50, 50 cents more, right? You say, fuck that. I know Hexo, he'll just make one for me. I'm not gonna buy that from you, dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Or I saw the YouTube video and I saw the clip and I snapshotted it and stole it.
So I am somebody that's nobody to you. You might see me on YouTube someday, but I'm nobody by comparison. So happens to be that I know Snoop Dogg, and Snoop Dogg bought it for me for $1.50. $1.50. Are you going to buy it from Snoop Dogg?
Yes.
Why?
Because Snoop Dogg. Because exactly what you're saying. It's your thesis, right? It's because Snoop Dogg. Like I could say Snoop Dogg owned this, and now I actually have proof, right? Instead of that guy who's selling Michael Jackson's gloves on eBay, it's like, oh, it's Michael Jackson's glove, and people still pay for that crap. Now you're like, is that actually Snoop Dogg did own this, and I have the proof because of the blockchain.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're saying
provenance, and it's provable, right? It's provable that Snoop Dogg owned it, right? So some of it is that's what the art world does. This hung in the Met for 3 months. This used to belong to this guy named Andy Warhol. It has this association. Even if Elvis Presley bought something from someone else and then sold it to someone else and only had it for a day, I guarantee you someone's going to pay a premium for the fact that Elvis Presley owned it for a day, right?
Right.
That kind of thing. It's social status. It's affiliation.
It's exactly why Richard may just end up succumbing to NFTs by the end of the day too, because
I
would definitely buy something from Richard. I would definitely buy it.
He doesn't want memed. Here's what he doesn't want memed. He will be the #1 biggest NFT airdrop ever.
Yeah.
Pulse Chain will be the #1
NFT Santa Claus.
NFT Santa Claus. Everybody's going to get an NFT that they didn't have before. And he's the biggest still for NFT, but he doesn't even know it.
Yep.
Wow, that's sad. Because it's true, it's one of those true things. Man.
He's gonna get memed out of existence with the NFT Santa Claus.
Yeah.
His memes will be his NFT memes will become NFTs.
Oh, yeah.
It'll just be like the ultimate metaverse.
Is so funny. Yeah.
I think I've been inside this community so long that I really just don't peer outside, but I don't know anybody else that has as much of a variety of memes as Richard Hart. I mean, there's things that have popped up on YouTube, or someone that was famous, 10 years ago and becomes the meme kid that grew up or something. But God damn, that guy's got a lot of memes. Have you ever gone inside of Hex? If you go to t.me/Hex memes and just like scroll down and see what everybody's contributed over the past 3 years, you should look at the media tab. There's some funny stuff in there, man. It's funny.
Yeah.
Well, there's just something incredibly endearing about a billionaire who spends what he spent 10 minutes talking about his keyboards last time,
Yeah, he's a keyboard nut.
It's like, oh yeah, this guy.
See how clean that sounds? See how clean that sounds?
The world's biggest scammer at it again.
And his memory recall. He sits there and he's like, he knows all the nomenclature, like where he got it, what it's made of, all that stuff.
Like, I literally had no idea keyboards even, like, I was like, wow, you can buy keyboards outside of Office Depot? This is amazing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, wait, you buy keys individually? What?
That's funny, right?
Yeah.
Funny.
When I first learned, it was pretty wild to me too. I was like, oh wow.
I learned a new word when he was doing that. Thok. The sound of the space bars called thok. He just drops.
Is that right?
Nugget. Yeah.
I guess that's accurate.
He threw a word the other day, and I can't remember it now. I need to look it up again. What was he saying when he was saying the curve, the bonding curve comes as close to the line but not touches the line?
Asymptotic.
Asymptotic.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a worm that divides itself. What is that again? Asymptotic.
That's basically what that means is that when something is approaching zero, but it never actually touches it, or approaching some value and it never actually touches it. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all it is.
And then they try to say absolute zero, and you can't get to it.
Right. You can never get to absolute zero. That's correct.
Interesting. Asymptotic.
Right.
I was like, I'll never need that word again, but it's interesting
Nope.
trivia.
I mean, you need it. You just don't use it.
I don't
You
personally
just
need it. I have people like
you
you.
say
and
it
Richard
other
who
ways.
I don't need it. I don't need it. I'll just use
mathematician.
like my finger like this, or I'll explain it in other ways.
I never thought I'd be explaining that word on a live stream. It's crazy. Well,
And
2022, man.
who actually in this crypto space again? The I don't know the sinking of what crypto could have been 10 years ago into what it was 3 years ago, before this launch stuff. You know, the quality of forethought, the quality of even anticipation of things like mathematics audits and
Right.
all the stuff that he did is just really high respect, man.
Yep. Right.
All right, well, what are we looking at, homie?
Well, we're looking at the T-shares to Ethereum and T-shares to Bitcoin chart. These are ratios of their dollar values, so you're seeing their percentage, seeing the values in percentage form here. 144% for the Ethereum versus T-share, and 11%, 11 and a quarter for Bitcoin. And just for reference, the price of reference here is 23 cents, 23 and a half cents, but we're currently at 21 and 0.15. So we're a little lower than we currently are right now. But that's the reference price for all of these data points. But you guys got to realize, right? You can only run on 160 plus X for so long without a pullback. Like there's got to be a cool off period. But I'll be honest, it didn't seem like there was ever going to be one to me because that thing just kept going up for 10 months straight, 11 months straight. But it's about to pick up again, and once it does, you know, it's not going to be stoppable. Like it eclipsed Bitcoin's first halving all the way back in March.
Mm-hmm.
All
Now
the
we're
way
below.
back here. All the way back here. So, or this was April or May. I can't remember exactly what the date was, but it was a while ago. So, Hex has been doing this thing for a long time, a very long time. So, it's just taking a breather right now. Here we have the shares market cap, 51 billion, and this is just, it started at $4 million. Now it's at $51 billion. Quite something. Quite something.
So this is the value, basically the value of every T-share in the
T-share.
system.
Yep. Correct.
Hex. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Total value locked is at 14.3 billion. And this chart is laying out the T-share rate, which is currently at 20,484. The dollar cost of a T-share at the time, with respect to 23.6 cents, is 4,800. It's probably about 4,000 now, at 21 cents or so. Probably 4,500 at 21 cents, because that's not far from here. $2,364.28 at the time. Yield at the date on that date was 38.72. 9.46 were staked at the time. I think there's 9.45 right now, if I remember correctly. But that's what's going on there. This is the systemic yield charts. And what we got going on here is this gray line. It's in dollar terms. This is your yield in dollar terms. And this is the yield on the day relative to your yield for the past 365 days. So we make a pretty penny in hex terms and dollar terms, just in case anybody's confused how much we actually make. I mean, this is pretty powerful information, right? So the dollar amount you made today, or the hex amount you made today, divided by all the hex you made in dollar terms and hex terms for the past 365 days. That's what these values are. So the yield is pretty good over here. And this is just showing the cumulative inflation that's actually been minted. which ultimately for the first year, November 27th, 2020 through, oh, this is supposed to be 2021. I got to fix that. Was 1.73%. Not the 3.69, which is what it's designed to do, because the rest of that is deferred forward. So essentially, you had 53, 54% of the inflation get deferred to the future from what was staked last year. So this is how our price is able to elevate so quickly, right? Because everybody is staking their hex and they're staking it long. Especially nowadays where the staking average, I think, is at 6.12. If I remember correctly, is pretty out there.
Yeah, it's kind
Uh,
of it just keeps going up. It's incredible.
yeah. Yep. Yep. It's crazy. I mean, I can't understand why it's moving like that, but man, it's moving. That's for sure. Not mad at it at all. That's a fact. That is
The
a
old,
fact, sir.
the old
So,
imitation of
Is that a
compounding
function?
interest.
right, it's a beautiful thing.
Is that a function you think that people were coming out? Because I know that I personally, I didn't feel like I bought in enough Pulse Chain, and so before Pulse Chain sacrifice, what I did, and I didn't have that much actually coming out of stake, but when it did come out of stake, that's part of what I put in. I put in new money also, but then from that point on, I haven't restaked because I was planning to put into Pulse X. And so, do
Right.
you think that this climb in the payout rate might be because there's that liquidity that those things that became liquid then got sacrificed? Is that any kind of impact on the payout rates? Would they be related? Why would
Um, I think it's just people emergency unstaking and getting out of stakes, man. Because we're seeing the percentage of people staked is just way less than it's been in a while. Like we're below 9.5%.
I know somebody that unstaked 30 million hex just to
There, there
be
you
in the game for the sacrifice.
there you go. See,
I had to ES one of my stakes. I mean, it was a very short one, luckily, so I wasn't nuking anything by any stretch of the imagination. But it's like I just got to get in Pulse X, and that
Mhm.
just that's what I had. So I mean, luckily, I wasn't giving up. Like, I wasn't being stupid about it, but it
Mhm.
happened. So
Yeah.
just needed to get that capital out.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was
Not
worth
recommended, by the
redoing it.
way,
Make sure
to
you know,
Yeah,
anybody.
but you did the
make sure
math, and
you
that's
know
the
what you're
point.
doing. Write down your investment thesis. Understand what you're doing in time you entertain those thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, if you
Right.
don't go at least 180 days, if it's not at least 180 days stake, if you don't do the 90 or whatever, like you can really
Percent.
wreck yourself if you don't know what you're doing with an EES.
Yep.
100%. The math is serious, folks.
Probably should sleep on it too. Like,
Yeah,
think about it, dude.
for sure, man. It's definitely not free, right?
Mm-mm.
Nope. But that's the beauty of the truth engine, right? It keeps everyone accountable.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. So on this chart, we got pretty much the same information as the chart before. The dollar cost of 10,000 hex, the dollar cost of a T-share, the T-share rate. But in addition, here we have the forward T-share rate, which is just the dollar cost of a T-share divided by the T-share rate multiplied by 10,000, because that was a starting rate. And when you divide these two, clearly, since they're the same value, you're going to get a single digit real number, basically. So 1 point something or another, or 2 point something or another in this case. So let's take these values, divide them so we can see how it works in real time, just so people can get an idea that this isn't some type of magic that people are making up. Oh, did I go the right way? Yeah. Oh, you know what? Let me put this shit over here. Let's see. All right. 4822 spot 31 divided by 20. All right. And there is our forward T-share rate. We will take this value, 2.03965, yada yada. Throw it up here, multiply it by 10,000, and this is what gives us our new T-share rate, 20,396. And well, there we go. It's rounded up. So 97. So it's done for us. Whoop de doo. And long story short, there was a premium a couple days ago, right? The number is rarely negative, and or I'm sorry, rarely positive, and here it is sitting positive. I would wager that today is probably not positive. It's probably negative again. So a couple of days ago, there was an opportunity to pick up T-shares on the cheap, which is rare because it's typically demand or a premium on T-shares. So this was an opportune moment in time if you were able to take advantage of it on that date. And
What
here
was
we
the
have
cause? What was the cause of that? What was the reason? Because the price.
the
Price.
T-share rate jumped. Let me show you actually because I got a chart for that. 236 hex or so. The biggest T-share rate increase to date since Big Payday. So cool
Wow, it's
story.
crazy that it's happening this late in the system too. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, what I realized is that these T-share rate increases are only going to get crazier, bro.
okay, just because the APY just gets bigger and bigger over time,
Correct. Correct.
right? Because the
Gonna
longer you
happen
hold the
by
stake, the better
default.
your APY.
Yeah,
Got
exactly.
it.
So ante up and get your stakes in and stop playing games, guys, because the system, straight math. And
Yeah.
we didn't even foresee that one earlier. So,
Yeah, no, it's almost counterintuitive. You
yep,
think the opposite, but
exactly.
now that you say it, just logically, it's like, oh, of course, because like the
Yep,
APY is going to increase because you're holding that day one stake or whatever. Like the longer you hold
exactly.
that, the bigger your APY is going to be.
I mean, yo, when we hit year 5, when we hit year 7.5, when we hit year 10, when we hit year 15, oh boy,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah,
boy.
that's what I try to explain to people. Like, if you guys own a T share, like it's going to be a thing of legends.
Yeah.
Like, understand, like T shares will be a
It's
thing
gonna
of
be like
legends.
it's gonna be like people that
You
played Zelda.
yeah, you're gonna be telling your grandkids like, oh, it's like I had a T-shirt once, and they're gonna be like, you had a T-shirt, granddaddy? What was that like?
Right, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
like, if you guys have a T-shirt and you staked it for 15 years, just know that
Congratulations.
like even one is incredibly valuable.
Oh, Kareem. Let me see if he wants to jump on. What
Yeah.
up,
That's
homie?
why it's that
Speaking
first
of T-share
it's that
Dream the
preservation,
first
dream.
right?
it's that first stake,
Yep.
30%. Put it
Yeah,
out there. Lock in those t-shirts.
Let me.
Bang
I ain't
bang.
even streamed with him in a hot minute too.
Let's
Hold on.
go.
See if we can get Kareem the Dream on the set.
Man, he was killing it in spaces. He was
I wasn't
going.
able to join when he was on there. You know how it is when he go.
yeah,
Yeah.
Fucking marathon man,
I
baby.
didn't even raise my hand.
Nah, pointless. Pointless. That man go when he hit in the zone. He in the zone, man. Gotta
Yeah,
respect it.
AutoZone.
Yeah, you got autos on you, stupid. You retarded. Oh man, but yeah, as you guys can see, it's getting serious. Value proposition. So good news for you guys. I already know how this chart is gonna look for Pulse Chain and Pulse X because there's math behind it, so it's gonna be pretty easy to do. It's just be a matter of getting a hold of the data. So we shall see. We shall see. But as you can see, as of a couple of days ago, if you've been staked with one T-share since inception, you've gotten 3,485.87 hex in total. So in percentage terms, that looks like as follows: 315,871. When yes, this number is indexed, so just remove 100, and there is your percentage number. So ridiculous. That is correct. That's how we like our returns over here. Ridiculous. This is, I mean, Gary himself comes from that world, that VC world. Is it not, Gary? That startup world where the returns are about them being ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean that's you're looking for far outsized gain, far
Yeah,
outsized your risk.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. It's not easy, folks. It's not easy, and it takes work, and it needs to be done. And this is, look at us. We're a small community, relatively speaking, right? And we're so small, but yet we're so big. Anywhere we go, we are heard. It's not like people don't know we're around when we're around because we're loud. We demand, we know what's up. We are people that are not just playing around on the internet. Like we're really about to do some things. So we're a little different relative to the rest of the Promise Coin space. So when people come into contact with us, it's invigorating by default because they are just not familiar with anything like this. You know, this is powerful because we act with intention most of the time. And this is the difference between us and the rest, right? This is why a lot of us are considered legend, and we're not even doing anything special. We're just talking, man. We're just sharing useful information that everybody will benefit from. Simple.
Yep.
It's interesting as a VC, you're usually betting on one of two things. You're betting on either the product because you think the product has some kind of IP or protection or something along those lines someone
Right.
mentioned, or you're betting on the founder, the person making the presentation saying, well, this product may not work out, but that person is going to make something big, right?
Hmm.
So, some future thing big. So you're betting on one or the other, and it's great that we've got both a product and a founder. And then on top of that, once something has, like if you're going to say you're going to go through another series and get, higher valuations and things like that, then you start to look at, the community, like who is the buyer, who are the sellers, who are the people, what are the side businesses that are around the core product or founder. And we're coming up on 3 years of maturation, from concept to where it's at. So, man, it's an amazing time to be in Hex. It's just
Really
awesome.
is, man. I mean, look, we got T-share market cap of 51 billion. We got a what's the other number I just showed? Jesus, well, I can't remember it. Total value locked of 14, or it's probably like 12 billion, 13 billion right now, since we're down a little bit from that number. But we got billions of dollars in economic mass and representation. Just standing around, just staked, just locked away, not being used for years, right? On an average pace of 6.12 years. Like that's pretty sick, man. Nobody else can make that statement. Not even Wall Street can make that claim where money is just locked away for 6 years, period. And it cannot be touched. Like that just does not exist. So that just lends itself to generating these type of outsized returns. And I mean, this is why, I mean, look at this. Not only do we have the ability to earn outsized returns based on the structure of what's going on, when it comes to the system and how it functions, if you look at these lines, you'll notice that there is no downward slope. Really, just it's flat line or it spikes up. That's it. And that means that there is no downside volatility risk. It's just strictly to the upside, meaning your payout only goes down to a certain level. After that, it got to go up. That's basically what it means. And that's exactly how the system works. This is why you got these big spikes. And when we go on to the next couple charts, let's see here, you'll see that this is represented in this payout per T-share line in magenta and the daily payout line in yellow, right? Because they both got to coincide with what's going on in the system because this is what they're tracking. As you guys can see, those spikes coincide with what has happened in those systems. So it's not like, you can see it clearly here. No downside volatility. I mean, to the most, you might see 5.7, and we haven't seen that since November 14th, and we haven't seen 5.8 since December 7th. Just so we're clear, it's been 5.9 or up ever since those two dates. It's been a beautiful period of time for us that are staked long term. I mean, look, my bags have been going at a rate that just doesn't make any sense, and I'm happy about that. So, you guys keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate it. Thank you. But going back here, we got the everybody gets paid chart. And here we got payout T-share average, which is all time in yellow. 28-day average and 55-day average in orange and magenta, respectively. And as you guys can see, both of them are trending up as well, right? For a long time, we were pretty much flat. And now we're just trending higher, which is great. Because that just shows that we're adding value at a more rapid pace in our system. And this is what you can see here, right? We had a nice little jump back here. I think it might have jumped like probably 0.05 on that day. It was a pretty big jump relative because it's usually at 0.01 or 0.02. It's not that high. So it was pretty. It was pretty. It was nice to see it move such a pretty high value, relatively speaking. But I mean, we just keep getting paid, man. I mean, you guys got to understand, 6 hex in 10 years is going to be a lot of money, right? And I think that that's the problem with a lot of people when it comes to staking. They don't realize how this math works, right? Like over time, like there's a reason that the system gives you the ability to stake for at least 15 years. It's a pity that it's not longer. Because we be having, like, I know I would definitely have longer stakes if we had the ability to do that. But unfortunately we cannot. Hold on, we got a special guest coming in. What's going on, brother?
Bang bang.
What's up, homie?
How you guys doing?
Good man.
Good, bro. How you been, man?
Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Exciting. Gary, nice hat.
Got to pay respect to the people that are setting the trend.
Oh, yeah. Well, like Will said, we're just sharing the word out here. That's what we're doing. Yeah, great chart, Wells. I wanted to make a quick comment on that the payout and then the t-shirt acceleration yesterday. I broke down for people to visualize, like literally how fast you're being left behind if you're not really paying attention. And I don't know if you remember, back in the day how we were like showing the share rate if Hex was $1 for people to visualize, because we tell them that it's accelerating, but when the price is low, you're like, what's 30, 50 points, right? And Hex
Yeah.
increase, it's nothing. But then I gave this great analogy I wanted them to realize is like, imagine the price is $1, right? And then we're still doing that 30 to 50 points every day or every other day, right? Now that means before price appreciation, if the price is just stable, that means the cost of a T-share goes up like $50 a day. That's insane. When you're going to get to that point, that not only we're going to pass the Bitcoin price fast, but it's going to accelerate faster and faster. And I was showing one of my friends, you got a lot of money on rotation, right? I made a lot of T-shirts, and I give an analogy with just like 100 T-shirt, how much economic value opportunity cost you're losing over time. And it basically goes like this. If you have 100 T-shares and you only do a 30-day stake, and then let's say it goes up 50 points every day, right? That means, quick math, by the end of the day, 30 days, right? 50 times 30 is about 1,500. That means the cost of each T-shares that you have just went up $1,500. Follow me so far?
Yep.
Then you multiply that by 100 because we're talking about 100 T-shares, right? Then you do that, then that gets you add basically 2 zeros, so that's like 150 grand. So what my friend didn't realize is you got 100 T-share, which right now roughly it's about $400,000, right? More or less.
Yeah.
And then he was bragging about, oh, but Cream, I'm making like 5-6 grand on average a month ROI. That's good. But what I want him to realize is in share rate, burn rate, again, in the example, Hex is $1, you will be making that kind of money, but you'll be losing opportunity cost in your asset about basically 150 grand a month. And this is what you see with those rotational stake that ends, guys restake, and then he lose 30 T-shares, 40 T-shares, right? That's the real opportunity cost. This is what T-share acceleration is about. This is what the people on the other side were eating the pie from the inside, pay up a T-share, go more and more insane. We're moving up the rank. Even in the shark level, I started to see move up. I'm like, whoa, that's big, because that's very hard to do. But hey, people wanted to let us get paid. So, and it's just, this is how gangster the system is. But then again, if you understand what is happening, the motion and Hex kind of like in the deep sea, what's happening that's not even in the price chart on the day-to-day, and you can't stop it. That's the thing people don't understand. You cannot stop it. The moment you make a stake, if you make a mistake, how you stake it, you're done. Because what are you going to do? Emergency end stake and lose even more T-shares? So it's just like, we're literally talking about just a 30-day stake. And that was just 100 T-share.
I mean, just look at all those spikes on this chart, right? Like, this is the T-share rate jumping over time. So if you're not staked, you're running the risk of having to acquire, you know, this much more hex over time because this stacks on its stuff. This adds up over time.
Hmm.
Doesn't disappear.
And your rate of dilution accelerates too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I wanted my friend to realize. He was like, Cream, I'm milking. No, you're not milking. You're being left behind. You just don't realize.
Right.
And then if you continue to do that in a year or two, maybe we were in the same bracket, but then you're no longer in that bracket. That's literally the insanity because you're gonna. And by the way, I just did this math based on price being stagnant. That's how gangster this is. This is just t-shirt leaving you behind.
Mm-hmm.
It is the scariest thing on the planet. The maximum you can hold it, whether you like it or not, is 5,555 days. That is it. After that, you're gonna have to let it go. This is not even something you can give to your grandkids. That will burn. You have to give them like another version.
Yep.
So now that's what the people like. You will be insane because I was also saying yesterday. I don't live in the present. I live in the future. I live in the time where my stake ends. In my world, when my stake ends, hex is definitely at least triple digits. But what that means for people to understand is that assuming even at current rate right now, we're talking about 200,000 to $2 million t-shirt. Why in the hell something that I can acquire for even right now $4,000 that could be worth $2 million plus a pop? Why in the hell would I give it up and not lock that away in the vault somewhere and let him make babies all along the way while everybody else exits, and then your payout just gets more and more insane. And 5-7 years from now, things that unfortunately that happened to Hex 19, we're gonna start getting those on a daily. The emergency end stake are gonna be worth billions of dollars. And those who ate the pool from the inside, oh man, it's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be like things that doesn't, and it's gonna accelerate the T-share even more because that means that APY with the penalty included gets more and more insane. So by the time we eventually end the stake 15 years from now, the share rate increase,
It's gonna be
it's
ridiculous,
gonna
huh?
be so insane that even though we got diluted finally, right after 15 years, when we go to restake because we got so much hex, we'll still separate from the rest.
And
And
let me do a little shout out here for the thanks for the £5 super chat there, Chris Hex. Two Hexagon UK meetups on the 29th for January, Newcastle and London. T.me / I guess Hex_UK.
shout
Uh,
out to them.
yeah, so shout
Yeah,
out
the
to
tour.
them.
We'll be in Dallas by then. I think Gary, we'll be seeing you soon, right?
Yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna be at the San Antonio, and then I'm gonna be driving the car over to Phoenix, I think.
Yep. Yeah, because they have to unfortunately check out the country and come back. So
Yeah, so they got to give me a supercar to drive 1,000 miles. Sounds rough.
hey, that's
Mm,
cool. The art is great.
Taking one for the team, taking one for
yeah,
the
good
team.
So
job,
yeah,
Gary.
It's rough.
and
It's rough.
I'm actually going to Boston tomorrow to get the
I'm gonna do a
testy and then bring
cannonball run.
it down. Because we're adding more people to the tour, so cool stuff.
Nice.
Get an extra car there, and then pressing the gospel all the way to March. Because and then imagine that times double. I keep forgetting, right, on the poster.
Oh yeah, I forget we're gonna get a
Bro,
double. Damn.
Wells, you know what's even crazy? Even though we talked about it at ad nauseum, I know it's going to happen because some people just can't help themselves. Just monitor the chart when the pulse chain launched, and some idiot's gonna think like, "Oh, we're gonna leave this chain and we're gonna go to the other chain." Oh my God, you're gonna see APY that you have never seen in your life. I'm just preparing you
Yeah,
Yep.
guys.
man.
Oh, we're gonna be collecting, and then I told them, "Where do you think you're going? You exit, okay, API goes up. Thank you. You buy on the other side, okay, I got a copy over there. Thank you." The faster you emergency end stake, the faster I accelerate before the snapshot happens. So it's just like, dude, no.
Yeah, I
Either
don't
you
get
listen
it,
or
man.
you get left behind. It's just that simple.
I
Yeah,
don't get it.
I think people just overthink it, right? They just overthink it. They're just like, oh, we just got to get the best deal and like the new thing on the block and the new kid on the block. It's going to be better. It's like
Shiny
the
object.
reality is, it's just like, yeah, we might see some outperformance, maybe, but it's like what I keep telling people is like, Pulse will inevitably, Hex on Pulse will always inevitably pull the Ethereum chain along because at some point, if you're onboarding and Hex is double the price that it is on Ethereum, you're going to tell people to go onto the Ethereum chain. It's like, who cares about the fees at that point? Why would you buy, you know, why would you buy 50-cent hex on Pulse over 25-cent hex on Ethereum chain? So it's not like the Ethereum chain hex is just going to vanish into thin air. Like there will always be a value decision at some point that someone will want to invest in Ethereum hex over Pulse hex.
This is going to be awesome. Free alpha on Will's channel right now. You ready for this? This is actually what's going to happen. And you can click this and come back. Those things are going to reach parity very, very, very fast. And here's why. Quick maths. First, it's going to hit the zero, play the game, blah, 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 taxable reason. We, at my level, Gary's level, we have the easiest, and it's in our best interest. You know how like we're saying, oh, they're going to come and back up their copy on the Pulse chain and blah, 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 right? Which is a good narrative and makes sense, right? People still kind of dumb and forget that, wait a minute, that's the same fucking thing we're going to do with Hex. We want our backs to double. At our level, Hex is Hex. Yes, gas fee sucks. I can still end the stake. I don't have a problem because it's still monetized for time value of money. And Richard kind of hinted already, but I will give you guys free alpha here. We're going to actually have the easiest way to provide liquidity without a permanent loss. And this is the pair we're going to do. It's very simple. It's going to call EXPX. For us, it's the same thing. You push one up or down, it doesn't matter. Hex is Hex. The way I look at it, there is no impermanent loss. It's like literally a stable coin. When he was talking about if you do USD to USD, they're different, but it's basically they hold their peg to $1. You're literally liquidity farming for free without literally impermanent loss. And for a true Hexican, Hex is Hex. There is not going to be impermanent loss. We're going to put so much liquidity in that bitch, you're not going to matter. You're going to play kind of like back in the day when V2 first came around. We had the little red candle. Somebody tried. And he's going to get liquidated. And then after a couple of times, maybe I'll give it a week. But it's going to hold because market makers and people who understand what we're backing up, we're going to provide that bridge. And we have literally zero impermanent loss. Why? Because for us, Hex is Hex. You give me on the left, you give me on the right. And it's going to do a teeter-totter. Pulse chain pumps first because easy onboarding. Yours truly is going to be out there traveling the world, fee-less transaction. We're going to get the people in. And then we just bridge the liquidity in from the left to the right, and it's like a train. So this one goes up, the other one follows. Because if not, some stupid arbitrage bot's going to come make the money. Why the fuck are we going to give him the money? No. We're just going to, so it's going to be like a leading indicator and then the rest follow. Like right now, Hex is on some exchange. If you look on TradingView, there's like a couple different tickers. They're not exactly the same, but they kind of mimic each other. So you may get like a little premium, kind of like, hey, Hex is $2 over there, and then Hex is $1.95 over here, and that's the 5% premium because of the fee. But that's nothing. That's garbage. Because again, Hex is Hex, and we have the easiest liquidity farming move ever, backing up our own half, the same narrative of Pulse Chain, because we want our back to double for real. And eventually over time, we're going to lower the Ethereum fees. So the gas fee is going to come down. Bear market's going to, help us out. It's still not going to be as good as Pulse Chain. That's why the premium is going to be there, but it's going to be negligible. Again, the joke, it's like, okay, one is $2, one is $1.95. Who cares? We came from 30 cents. You know what I'm saying? And we're getting the APY on both sides. One could be more expensive than the other one, but the other one could have a higher APY too, which actually makes mathematical sense for you to stay there. And again, we have the easiest thing in the world, free alpha on Wealth Channel here. You provide liquidity, EXPX, you literally just another God mode, break the system, you can't lose. And you get to farm the new coin that hasn't even been named yet for free. If you're a true Hexican, there is no impermanent loss because you can take either Hex and then go stake it and then earn some yield because that's what it is. It is a product, not a project. Price is irrelevant. The yield is where it's at.
Yeah, it really shouldn't matter. You're right.
That changes the narrative because having low liquidity gave the opportunity for price to move up, and it disincentivized exiting in big volume, causing spikes and trend change, and then. Now, if there's a lot of liquidity because people bridge over you're saying that they're bridging over their EHEX, right? Is that
yeah, as the liquidity is needed. So, for example, Pulse Chain pumps first because demand is coming in and there's not enough Hex. Because whatever we think is available right now is nothing. People have no clue. Like Richard said, you can inflate at 100%, but if onboarding comes at 1,000x, it's going to push the price up. So somebody is going to do it. Either our bot too. Price going to pump. Hex going to become scarce faster. So it's going to create like a little illiquid market because you're going to see massive greed candle. And then somebody's going to do it from the community. Is going to bridge the EX from the other side to then kind of not dump it, but push the price down to provide new liquidity for the new people to buy. But by doing so, it creates a pump because you're buying on this side, pumping the price up to bridge it to put it on the other side. That's why I say it's a ticker tatter, pulse chain pump. Then either somebody's going to do it or a bot's going to do it, buy on the Ethereum side, bridge it over to dump it on the other side because, it's a higher price over there. And then you
Well,
can
if
just
there's
do it
more
like that.
liquidity and there's less price movement and it is more stable, Hex effectively becomes a stable coin. As far as the liquidity pool, if it effectively became a stable coin, then your yield is from your stake, which means that some percentage, maybe you gave 20% into the liquidity pool with other, 1,000 other people that do 20%, and then you stake the remainder in your ladder or whatever, and you just have perpetual yield. So you could have perpetual yield without having price volatility. You
And
think that that's better structure on the CD narrative? Because that's what originally was as a CD narrative, was a predictable yield.
And now if you're compounding at 40%, now you're compounding at 80% because essentially your stack just double and then you're compounding on both sides. And the stablecoin analogy only needs to be on the EXPX pair. That's all we need because we want them to peg to be each other's. So I don't want the viewer to be confused. On the Ethereum side or USDC side, it's just going to be what we call on-demand liquidity, just enough on the bid side. So if somebody wants to dump millions of dollars, get wrecked on slippage, but also not enough on the ask side to allow the price to go up. The strong bondage is EX to PX, so people can drill that into their brain. This thing is going to be equal to the same. Maybe you get a week of 3 days of shenanigans as the bridge comes in and whatever, but it's going to have so much liquidity fast because it's just common sense. You have zero. If you're a true hex, you can hear me loud and clear. You have zero impermanent loss. If you're doing a EX-PX bridge pair, and again, free alpha, Richard kind of hinted it. For those who didn't cut that, he was using the example of USDT, USDC, or something like that. How like the one that you actually trust, they still counterparty risk or whatever. But essentially, he was saying if those things are still redeemable for $1, when you do, stable to stable, technically there is no impermanent loss because they're worth $1. And this is going to be our way, just like the pulse chain narrative for the other people. Come in, create a bridge, add value so that your free copy is worth something. We Hexicans are going to do the same thing because we want our bag to double. So, and then from there, it's just hallelujah. So if one goes up in price against USDC and the bonding is there, the other one also goes up in price. So, and then we don't give free money to stupid arbitrage bots. That's the main reason too.
Yeah, that's the key.
If we don't do it, somebody's gonna do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yo, Wells, I got to bounce, man. We got dinner on the table. So thanks for having me on, brother. Have a blast. I'll catch you later. See you guys.
No worries.
Diamond Dad, peace out.
Peace out, brother.
Yeah, I gotta dip out also. It's 3 in the morning for me. I gotta go.
No worries, man. Thanks for coming through.
Oh, you see Europe?
Yeah, I'm in Spain.
Got you. Nice. You see, Gary living the dream, man. I love it. I love it. Traveling.
Keep it real, Gary.
You only knew how great the dream is.
Right.
Tiring, I'm sure.
That's true. Hey, that's why we love doing it. That's what we love doing.
See ya.
Later, man. Thanks for stopping through.
Bang. Yeah, well, let's raise those charts.
Yeah, let's wrap these bad boys up. It's been a good stream, though. It's been a good stream.
Thanks.
But yeah,
yeah,
man. Yeah, Bally is the man. Bally is the man. So we're just looking at correlation charts here between Ethereum and Bitcoin, and we see zero correlation. This is what this value is denoting right here. 0.00021, and it goes from -1 to +1. So at 0, it means there's no correlation, and that's what that's basically showing. Nice. And that's for Bitcoin, and the same thing here. This is a scientific notation, so basically 0.0, a bunch of zeros and a 5, so basically zero correlation again. And all of these dots here are just the returns for Hex on the x-axis and the returns for Y, or for Ethereum on the y-axis, and on the y-axis for Bitcoin on this chart. And if you pay close attention, you'll notice that the scatter kind of lets you know how Hex behaves and how Bitcoin behaves and how one is all over relative to the other, right? And that's kind of important to take into consideration when you're considering where you're allocating your capital, because you want to have returns, right? Like you don't want your money like all over the place. So this is important information, of course. And this is the key, right? This is the rolling correlations chart between the dollar cost of Hex and the dollar cost of T shares. And this is what this line represents. So every single day, I keep track of the previous 21 data points, 55 and 34, and get an average for each, and ensure that the correlation is at least above 90%, because that's what we want to see, right? We want to ensure that Hex and T-share price are in line with each other, because the system is designed to do that. And that's the whole point of it, because the more end stakes you see, the more people use the system, the higher the T-share rate is going to go, the more Hex that's going to be required to get a T-share,
Yep.
and the more money we end up making.
Dead ass.
Period.
I can't wait for the new chart too with the pulsar. You're gonna add another correlation. How this EMP is gonna be like touching
it's gonna be sick, bro. It's gonna be sick. Because we're gonna start from zero, right? So we're gonna be just
it's gonna be
talking
like
it up.
pew, and then pew, one.
We're gonna be talking it up. Yeah. This is the dollar term chart. This is the payout per T-share in dollar terms, and this is the price of Hex, and this is the adjusted Hex value, which is just the sum of both of these values. The yellow line, $1.66 for the 16th, which isn't too bad. If you got 100 T-shares, that's $166, right, for one day. So not too bad. And then if you really think about it, you multiply it by 2. Not bad at all.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Easy money.
What's a copy?
Right. And if you just look at the payout per T-share, $1.43 times 2 would be what you're actually getting paid. So not bad at all.
You know what's funny? Once again, Hexicans are going to be leading by example, showing how it's done, and basically showing the other chain, guys, this is how you back up your copy, and you get paid double. Shit, everything we do, man, we're just winning. We're just pioneers, copyers, man. And then when Richard said, I was like, yeah, that makes fucking sense. My brain just went directly like, shit, I'm right there with you. Because it just makes sense.
That's right.
And you guys heard it here first. So when it happens, don't be like, we're gonna do another video with Wells. Like we've been done, told you. Like
another one. We're gonna do a part 2.
Exactly. And
Pioneers with the bonnet.
More of the story.
Right.
If you're one of those idiots that think that it's gonna be a left, right, like that trader mindset, you're gonna get wrecked. Don't come cry later. Like, oh, I didn't know. They told me this side was better than that side. And then wrecked.
Yeah, wrecked is the word. Here's a Hex price earnings ratio of 16.5%. versus 551% at an all-time low for the S&P 500. So something to take into account, right? Because 16% is significantly lower than 500%.
Histology, you stupid. Einstein been done told you.
Is it?
It's so funny. Einstein. Oh man, hilarious.
Well, I didn't see.
Just popped up recently.
There it is.
Well, it is. Hey, Einstein's be out there compounding. He left the quote for you. You know what I'm saying?
He did.
Are you gonna take the wisdom or you're not? That's it.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to, man. I mean, it's really simple. You either want to pay it or you don't.
Exactly. Like another reason I love this fucking chart right there. That's another wisdom right here. Like we literally tell you how market, quote unquote, markets in the regular world value stuff. And supposedly when it's low, it means it's great. And you have something that has literally never been seen before. And some people are just looking at it, not understanding, like, take fucking actions. That's the value of a T-share right here in terms of yield. Like, that's what Hex is so good. Like, it baffles me. You know, some people just like, well, when do you stop? You never. True accumulation never ends until this number start to go higher.
Yeah, it's a point where you can't get none for real. Like, why are you stopping? I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Like you can
You
still
get
get
all
like
the money.
4 or 5 for $1. Why you still not getting some?
Yeah, exactly. Game over. Case closed.
What
Done.
else is there to buy that's this good? I would love to know.
Exactly. And it's just math. It's nothing personal. We ran the numbers.
It's not.
So
I
when the
mean,
new money comes in,
it's
that's
giving us the data. We don't even got to
that's
talk about it. I mean, the charts are here. Look, you know what I'm
it.
saying? Like, ain't nothing to talk about. It's right here
Exactly.
in your face. Yeah, total value like 14.3 million, billion,
Yep.
billion. Right?
And I love what we're doing right now. Like Axis had it in his chart. I think he's right. We're doing that mini double W right after big payday run up,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
we're ready to launch. Yeah, exactly. Like right after
Only
that.
bigger.
Exactly. Ooh, nice. What is
Yep.
this?
This is staker per holder, current staker per current holder chart
Ooh, I
or
like
line.
that. Is this new? Man, well, I
Yeah,
haven't been
these
on
are.
the show for a while, so I'm like,
Yeah, yeah. It's been a minute, bro. It's been a minute.
there you
And
go.
this is current holders versus total holders. So these are the
All
people
right.
that are exiting the system, which is great
Mm-hmm.
because we don't want them
Mm-hmm.
around here anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the current versus total stakers. So as you guys can see, this is pretty stable. It's not really
Nice.
fluctuating much. So we
Yeah,
got
get them all out. My APY goes up.
yeah, exactly. Peace, right?
Peace.
And this is what's interesting. We're getting actually new highs in current holders or
Yeah.
current stakers per holder because people are leaving. But yet our APY is going up as well.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Because
So
those who stayed get bigger pies.
that's right. And here we got current holders at 276,650. But that's as of 2 days ago. It's probably higher by now.
Mm-hmm.
And current stake is 75,000 is definitely greater than that by now. It's probably
Yep.
70,000, probably 500,
Yeah.
70 to
Yeah. On
5,500.
Sticker app, it's about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
75.13.
So this chart, you haven't seen this one before, Kareem. Let me explain this one for you. This one is the circulating supply reduction chart. What this is tracking is,
Ooh, I like that.
yeah, this is tracking how much less hex we have circulating per active holder of hex
Mm-hmm.
from after big payday when
Mm-hmm.
supply stabilized to present day.
Nice.
And it has been a 36% reduction to date as of 2 days ago.
Nice. Which makes perfect sense because some of it is function of T-share acceleration, needing more
Yep.
hex every time, and then obviously sacrifice impact. And then obviously people who EES, because that some of that, even if you EES for sacrifice, whatever you got penalized, some of it goes sits in the bin, away and
Yeah.
never moves. So because this thing mine is obviously away, right? Or is
Yep.
it okay? Perfect.
Yeah. It's just whatever is circulating. That's it. I didn't subtract OA. Whatever the OA is holding, it's just whatever is circulating. I didn't subtract
Gotcha,
the
got
OA.
you. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why it's kind of on the uptrend because I would have thought,
Hmm.
it was a bigger number and then forever down. But it makes
Yeah.
sense if you're counting away stuff, then yeah.
Yeah. I'm counting everything. Just whatever's floating around out there. Because if you remove the OA, then there's definitely nothing.
Shit, that's what
You
I'm
know
trying
what
to
I'm
tell
saying?
people. There's
But
nothing.
hey, man, we trying to let them know.
Right?
We trying to let them know in a nice way.
Right? Shit. Because it's like this is why
Because
the audit is so important because people are like, oh my god, the cream, it's gonna double. I'm like, do you know what a system fucking state means? That means whatever little bit that's left, if you only knew, yeah, that gets times two, but it's still a little bit. It's not that much.
nah, it's not.
Billions of hex got sacrificed. Billions
Yeah.
more never hit
I mean,
circulation.
look at this. This is per holder. This amount of hex cost what? 250K? 200K or something? No.
No,
400K.
500K. Well, roughly
400,
420K.
450K
Yeah, I was thinking
thereabouts.
25 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. 400K.
Right. So everybody cannot afford this. So clearly this isn't attainable for everyone.
Yeah.
And this
I
is
mean, it
why
wasn't even
you got
insane.
to take action, bro. This is why you
Not
got
too
to take
long ago, you could buy 2 million hex. Like I thought it was
exactly
like kind of like yesterday. Now it's like,
when there was nothing.
yeah. Wow.
Hmm. Now it's something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the next price move, if you're coming in new, the shit just continues to get out of reach. I remember yelling at people when it was like $80 or whatever, and like going, it's like
Like,
the shit
wake
just
up.
gets, the shit just gets out of reach.
Yeah, it
all
goes.
the it just just the
Just
next
goes.
step. It's like the consciousness of people just grows to a point until it bottlenecks, and then it just boom, and then it's a whole new group of people that wake up to the idea of what the fuck's going on, and then it bottlenecks, and then it just boom,
Boom.
and it's like a whole, and then
Yeah,
it's just levels to this shit.
you're right.
Hey, McMill right there. Preach.
You're
I mean,
right.
it just
Yeah.
makes so much sense. Like I try to tell people, like the problem is I need you to be wise and understand this because if you don't, by the time you do, yeah, it's great, but the price went up so high that you were like, oh my God, I wish, I wish, I wish.
Yeah, you're gonna
No,
be so remorseful. It's gonna hurt.
exactly. That's why those charts are so important. That's why we're running those simulations. That's why sometimes the way I talk, I tell people I live in the future because I need you to understand what's about to happen because it's math. It's happening right now. The reason why you're not paying attention is because the numbers are much smaller, but you don't understand that if you really believe and understand what hex is going to do and how high the price is going to be, you need to start running the math when the numbers are much higher. And I'm being nice, I only say $1. Imagine at $5, $10. Imagine the real opportunity. Because when I'm telling you that you brag like again, that's just my friend. You're bragging about your yeah, to me it's stupid. Your $8,000 yield in fucking 30 days. Good job. But you're burning $150,000 worth of assets. That's insane. At $10, that's $1.5 million. And then when my stakes are going to start doing crazy stuff, video game numbers, you're going to be like, oh, you got lucky. No, it wasn't luck. It's fucking math. Wake the fuck
Yeah,
up.
and it was told.
Mexicans, I said it all the time, and I'm gonna repeat again. Don't get it twisted. Stay broke, not poor. Make no mistake. I proudly say this. There's people that got way more liquid than me right now. That's cool. I got nothing to prove. I'll see you in 15 years. We're gonna be in the golden yacht. Every week we're in another. Forget zip code, Machiavelli. Every week we're in another continent. We're just moving different. That's what I'm here to do. It's called Dream Account for a reason. You saying about
Yeah,
just traveling this and that? We've been doing this shit before. We ain't worried about that.
you're just doing things different, right?
Different. Onboarding a whole country. That's what I want to do. Get some hex. You get some, and you get some. Let's go. We're gonna
Hex
do
for
an
everybody.
airdrop, billion-dollar airdrop. That's gonna happen. 2025, we can do this shit, man.
Who
500 mil on the east side, 500 mil on the piece on the pulse chain, and then we just get users, man. We just onboard at a different clip, 1 million users at a time.
Yeah. Let's check this chart out. So this is staked hex per staker. So back in the day, easily 2.5 million hex was staked per staker. Now it's all the way down to 800,000. So it's getting scarce,
Mhm.
folks. Total value locked again, 14.3. I guess that chart slipped in there a couple times. Payout in hex terms per staker. At one point, it was above 2,500 hex. But now we're all the way down to 850. Below that, 848.8.
Damn, man,
So
crazy.
yeah, it's getting crazy out there, man. It's getting real crazy.
Yep.
So, and the
Ooh,
infamous doubling chart. We are still lagging, but as you guys know,
at any
once we're
time it could pop.
once we're done, we go. We don't wait around.
Yep. No,
We
we're gonna
just
catch up with like a beach ball. I think it's gonna do kind of like that
yeah.
Godwell move.
Yeah.
Because another thing too, I don't know if you've been paying attention to that, but I've been looking at the staking chart too of the end staking, and there's like a bunch that's coming out now and then throughout the end of the month. But then after that, dude, it's a drop because I expect a lot of it to restake. Obviously, a lot of it is sacrifice. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe some people cash out a little bit here and there, like that well did like 2 days ago, whatever.
Right.
But after that, when you look at the expiring chart, bro, there's nothing. It's like, see ya, blue sky, let's go.
it is like
Right.
so the game theory to like have it where kind of whales have an intention, like a reason to keep the price down for an extended amount of time to lock in their thing. Like
Mhm.
for that incentive to exist while Hex is disappearing, like the game theory of those two things combined, like where when that meets,
Mhm.
it's just it could be stupid.
Yeah. And it's so funny
Hmm.
because it's epic. Everything has a cost, like we was talking about earlier. Because even when you do that, guess what, bro? The other whales that want to play this game, to me, I just don't care. But you got to stay liquid to try to push the price down. When you're liquid, we're just chilling, earning stakes. You're burning your T-share, you're doing emergency end stakes, whatever else you're doing, that's fine. but we're collecting. We'll see who wins. Turtles in their hair, right? At the end of the day, we'll see. Because the system already done told you who wins at this game. Stake and
Yeah.
Clap are running the show, and year over year, our baller alert is going to be just different. That's it. We're running the show because we delay gratification and we monetize time. And the system makes sure that we're the one winning this game because we're playing it at the highest level. You know, don't let those little couple days, couple weeks fool you.
So it's important to know that this total value lock started at 3.2 million or so, right? And
Mm-hmm.
now it's at 14 billion. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Imagine you're like where we are now is like pre Godwell pump. And then when they really just like last year, right around my birthday, funny, February 3rd, a lot of those N6 gonna be gone. And then imagine you've been working hard, being diligent. Like I tell one of my other friends, you know, he doesn't have a lot of money, but I was like, just keep your head down, buy as many hexes as you can, especially when the price is low. Don't go into it.
mm-hmm.
You're gonna be so happy because like at Abid's story, when that massive pump comes in, you'll literally just retire overnight, just like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an overnight because you were smart, you were wise, you were out there collecting the chips. When people were throwing it like it's garbage in a can, you were out there picking up, right? One's man's garbage is another one, right?
There's
You're
another
out
man's
there
pleasure.
picking it up, understanding, locking it away. Because those are the diamonds, like Johnny does in this video. Like, you know, you don't know what you hold. The market's
Yep.
gonna remind you.
The market's gonna teach you, that's for sure.
And then they're gonna come at the other
Exactly.
ones like, oh, you got lucky. What?
Yeah, they definitely gonna try to come with that one, ain't they? If only it was on recorded video. If
What up,
only.
Hector? Nice to meet you. Yeah, Miami was awesome. Appreciate the kind words.
If only. But yeah, man, we already going on 3 hours. I've been trying to keep them short, so I'm gonna try to stick to that. This is pretty much it, man. I mean, we're
Mm-hmm.
looking really solid right now.
All day. And you know what's
X
funny about
is
that is that you're absolutely right, and then the rest of the market is in fear. Either
yeah,
they're in fear of the dump because the dump is coming, guys. Breaking news, it's coming. Like I love Richard. Richard is trolling people right now, left and right on Twitter.
oh
I love
yeah.
it. But hey, engagement. They don't talk to us. We'll talk to them. We're engaged. So I just fucking love.
I mean, it's in bear mode right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh shit. The
no
McDonald's
doubt
pattern,
about
baby. You already know.
it. Yeah.
It's either this weekend or next weekend.
On a
And I
3 day
told him yesterday,
basis, on a 5 day basis.
right?
It's about to snap on a 5 day basis. So
And you remember every year, like the bullshit narrative of February, oh, Chinese New Year, da da da, and then they gotta cash out. Dude, they run
8 day
that narrative every
basis
fucking
too
year.
is breaking. 13 days is just hitting support, so it's getting pretty dangerous for
Mhm.
Bitcoin.
He's gonna go visit that
Um,
area where the guy on Wall Street are buying it at right now with the negative 27%.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. That's pretty much what's going down, yeah.
If the
So
opposite can't be in motion, he's gonna find a new motion. Can't
yeah,
go up, then guess what?
has to go down. And I mean,
So
it's had a good run, but
yeah,
things have to recalibrate, and that's the nature of the beast.
yeah.
Let's do a little pulsex.com check before we.
And just real quick, I love that horizontal line that you have because that's really the line of the sand. Because if you cross that, holy cow.
Which
Like,
one?
yeah, that
This
kind of
one?
the pink one, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
oh,
the
this one.
same shit that I had on mine too. It kind of break it a
Yeah.
little bit, it kind of bounce back up, but that's the last line of defense. When that thing cross, bro,
Yeah.
bye-bye.
It's holding it right now. That's the only
Mhm.
thing holding it.
That's it. Hey, you know what's that meme? Like you're holding by a thread that
Yeah. Cliffhanger.
good.
Cliffhanger. That's what it is, man.
Hey, Bitcoin like to live dangerously, let him be. Let
Yeah.
him- But the funniest
Ethereum.
thing
I
is
don't
that it
think
doesn't matter.
Ethereum
It
is too
goes
far
up, we make
behind
more
though.
money faster too. So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Ethereum isn't far behind either. Look.
Hmm.
Same deal. Just hanging on a deal life. Well, party is over.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to them, because they're gonna need it. Now,
Hmm.
if you made it all the way to the end of the stream, make sure you at least read the bottom of this screen, like that ticker that's scrolling at the bottom. Follow those instructions because they're very important.
Yep.
They're very key to your security, because the reality is that, yeah, You can have all the gadgets you want, but if you don't know what you're clicking on and what you're doing, not even gonna matter.
Yep.
You're gonna get breached anyway.
Sadly.
So
So yeah, please, guys, security. We
yeah.
can't stop talking about it. Like,
Yeah, nowadays I always make a point to at least dedicate a couple of minutes to it during
yeah,
the stream, because
respect your pockets, like Wellesley said.
yeah,
This
respect
thing's
your
gonna turn
pockets,
into a lot of money, and it will be very sad. I wouldn't want to wish that on anybody.
100%.
You did
That's exactly it.
everything. You did all the learning. You did the delayed gratification, and then in the end, it gets stolen from you. Dude, that's like the most unfair bullshit. Just thinking about it pisses me off.
Yeah,
But we gotta respect our pockets. We got it. We gotta make
that's
sure
right.
we don't.
That's right. And shout out to everybody in the chat. I mean, we was, I think, over 350 at one point, man. I don't think I've ever had that many people sitting on a live stream. So thank you all for tuning in. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And yeah, we're gonna play that gang music on the way out. Peace out. Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
That's the secret. The guy well told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. Man, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all deep, everybody.